they conceal the ugly truths to protect themselves.
Maybe you're in search of true love.
Roses are red, violets are blue. I got a crush on you, baby, would you be my crew?
What about a bit of family drama? Need something to keep the kids entertained?
We're ready to help with the case, Mira. We'll look for clues.
Perhaps criminally good comedy is your thing.
That is so cute!
Whatever you're in the mood for, look no further than DSTV.
Constant yawning, heavy eyelids, blurred vision, and veering off the road are some of the signs that you are falling asleep while driving. This is driver fatigue. Always stop when tired. In Ghana, by law, after 4 hours of continuous driving, drivers should take a mandatory 30 minutes rest. Whilst resting, avoid heavy food, alcohol, and drugs. Even some medication can impair your driving. A driver can then drive for another 4 hours in that day. For long distances, share the drive. Avoid driver fatigue by getting a good sleep before trips. Don't drive tired. Stop road crashes now. Stay alive.
This road safety education is brought to you by the National Road Safety Authority.
Thank you, sir. Hello, my name is Samuel Ofori, a film actor and a film director. Because of the nature of my job, the taste for quality things is endless. Quality phones, quality laptops, quality TV sets. Let me show you my secret. Here is Franco Trading Enterprise. My secret for quality laptops, quality phones, quality TV sets, accessories, come on. External hard drive, pen drive, name it. For bulk purchase and retails, come to Franco Trading Enterprise. They'll reduce the price for you. Franco Trading Enterprise. Home quality phones.
You will come back. Now, father of one of the 4 Takade kidnapped girls who were confirmed dead, Francis Bentum, has questioned the authenticity of the remains of the 4. The remains, which are still in the hands of the police service, were today presented in 4 caskets at the Secondary High Court.
Well, this followed a request to the court by the 7-member jury in the murder case against the 2 accused Nigerians, Sam Udochuk Wells and John Oji. Father of Priscilla Bentum, speaking to Citi News after proceedings, condemned the court for not allowing the families to also view the remains, which were displayed in a separate room at the court.
The Secondary High Court is very much ready to receive the 4 expected human remains that are being carried, I'm told, in 4 caskets coming from the police headquarters. And it is all because the jury involved in the case of murder against the 2 Nigerians, Sam Udochuk Wells and John Oji, are requesting to actually see the human remains that the pathologists actually worked on. The police just arrived. We've seen about 4 police vehicles entering the premises of the Secondary High Court, expected to actually be carrying the 4 human remains that we are told is going to be displayed here at the Secondary High Court. And so if you can go to the van going that, we can see pathologists, pathology department, police hospital. And then on my right side here, we have a lot of police officers actually coming out of the vehicles to actually make sure that there is enough security here at the grounds of the Secondary High Court. Now, the information that we've picked up is that the administrators of the court have changed their mind, and upon advice, they've actually decided to take their 4 human remains carried in 4 caskets inside the courtroom proper, where we cannot actually take our cameras to, but we'll be sitting in there to actually see what actually comes out. The court proceedings here today didn't actually last for even more than 10 minutes after the pathologists led the court together with the defense team, the prosecution team, and the jury, who actually requested for the human remains to be brought to the court to go and have a view of the human remains and some pictures that actually came with it to the court. And after the viewing, the presiding judge asked the jury if they have any further questions, and they actually asked one question, which is to do with whether the human remains were discovered with soft tissues or human body on them, which the pathologist from the police department, Superintendent Dr. Osu Ose Efriye, told the court that they didn't find anything on that. And as a result, the presiding judge, Justice Richard Eje Frimpong, actually discharged the pathologist to go, and then requested that, ordered that the bodies be taken back to the police hospital until any further need to bring them back. So that is basically what transpired here at the Secondary High Court. But we have one of the fathers of the late kidnapped girls, and Mr. Francis Bentum, to actually tell us his reactions to what actually happened here at the Secondary High Court today. Sir, dear cousin, then I'll come.
I've been to a lot of men or train. We said, so we come from now. Oh, my hand about young John on Canada, yet, young Fanda, because at the China says, you have been to me, but in Bita. You ever go on over Sawaba.
How did you feel? And of course, one of the bodies.
Molko, no young 20, me feel Bibia, because Bibian come there is all called no call Yakakra. I just not some benella. Woman, a doctor or Becca say, and yan of a fair sample cray. In the time Yakwa cross, and yan movie Kumasi on your knee. Now, Mamma with so government no appeal was a bit tired now or how. And was all called, out of man paying and impaying for who when you are, what is all called.
So, that's the situation here, and that is the views of the Mr. Francis Bentum, who happens to be the father of the later Prince Bentum. For Citi News, I'm Akwesi second day.
Liquefied petroleum gas stations in the Ashanti regional capital, Kumasi, have resumed full operations after several days of closure, leading to an acute shortage. Now, for the past few days, users of LPG for both domestic and commercial purposes have been left stranded in Kumasi, Accra and Takoradi, following a strike by the National Tanker Drivers Union. Now, consumers of the product want government to take steps to avert such happenings in the future. Citi News' Eduardo Pomafo reports.
Residents who had run out of liquefied petroleum gas struggled for days due to the shortage of the product. Some who spoke to Citi News say they were forced to alter their plans due to the shortage. The situation is not the same, as many who visited various stations to purchase LPG for their homes were served. They however warned authorities to prevent these occurrences.
We, those who also use gas in our various homes, we find it difficult to cook because charcoal is not available at the moment. So when it happens like that, we find it difficult to do various activities. Therefore, we are pleading with the authorities that we should make it available so that we will have it in abundance.
When it comes that way, it affects us very well because normally we keep use of the gas. We don't use any charcoal anymore these days. So when it comes that way, it affects us very much.
But you personally, how was it like?
Okay, it depends because yesterday, because there's no gas, even in the morning, I couldn't make my things quickly to go to work because I have to heat water for the children to bath, go to classes and all sorts, because it affects me very well.
Commercial drivers who rely heavily on LPG were not spared the impacts of the shortage.
It has affected me in my business. So I supposed to send some goods to somebody. But because of the shortage of gas, now I have get the gas, and now I have going to distributed my goods. So many people are waiting for me. But if if some of the people were waiting for you and they got tired of waiting, they will buy some outside.
For Edward Adansibona, he believes there is a better way to avoid such situations.
If it can be done like how they do it outside, because I've lived in Germany before, you don't pick cylinder to go to the station and then fill it. It's like pipe. Everything is connected. So you make it like at the end of the month or at the end of every month, you pay just like you are paying prepaid meter or something like that.
People now have access to gas after shortage hit parts of the Ashanti region. And in fact, the worry of most people who have been to this area is that possibly they may experience this shortage issue again. And it could even be soon, as they have been experiencing it. And they want authorities to look at this phenomenon and help address it. From the Paradise gas station here in Kumasi, I'm Edward Oponmafo for Citi News.
President Akufo-Addo says government will continue to support parliamentary democracy in the country. According to him, democratic institutions like Parliament will continue to receive government support to deliver its mandate. The President was speaking at the commissioning of Job 600 Annex in Parliament House. Citi News' Samir Yafi has more.
The new Job 600 Annex forms part of Parliament's Fiscal Infrastructure Improvement Project launched years ago. The new edifice will include offices for MPs, conference rooms and waiting areas for visitors. Commissioned the project, which started in 2018, President Akufo-Addo says government will continue to support the growth and development of Parliament.
Let me reassure you of the commitment of government to working with you and members of the House for the peace, progress and prosperity of Mother Ghana. All of us have a joint responsibility to work together with our different views and our different perspectives for the Ghana project. A united Ghana, governed according to the rule of law, respect for individual liberties, human rights, and the principles of democratic accountability. A Ghana that meets fundamental requirements of social justice and solidarity.
Majority Leader and MP for Swame, Osechi Mensah-Bonsu, stated that members of Parliament will soon pass laws to sanction the swearing-in of new presidents in Parliament House. He says the swearing-in event at Independence Square did not conform to best practices and they needed to be discontinued.
The House has decided that the president-elect must from hence, subject to security considerations, be sworn in the presence of Parliament, before Parliament, and in Parliament. Consequently, Mr. President, the Parliament of Ghana is proposing that the swearing-in of the President-elect should be done in the present presence of Parliament, as happened during the first inauguration of President John Agyekum Kufuor. Mr. President, this is our humble request, and once it meets your agreement, the necessary triggers shall be pulled to get the place ready for the event on January 7th, 2021.
The Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, is cautioning the general public against PB Limited, an entity claiming that it can facilitate the payment of customers' locked-up funds. The entity allegedly claims that it has the capacity to assist customers of some SEC-regulated market operators whose licenses were revoked in return for fees or a commission. SEC says its investigations have revealed that there is no company duly registered by the Registrar General's Department under that name.
It further cautions the general public and investors that neither the SEC nor the official liquidator, that is the Registrar General, have authorized the actions of PB Limited. It says anyone who disregards this warning does so at his or her own risk.
Moving on, the Minister for Food and Agriculture, Dr. Owusu Akoto, has indicated that 51 out of the 81,000 metric ton warehouses that the government promised to establish are ready for use.
He further added that the increase in annual production of rice and maize are significantly aiding the government's modules of planting for food and jobs, as well as planting for export and rural development. He was speaking at the 7th edition of the National or Nation Building Updates on the theme, Becoming Africa's Food Basket.
We came in, we opened all these 34 warehouses, and not only that, we decided that we were going to build 1,000 metric ton warehouses across the country. And I'm glad to report that out of the 80, 51 are ready to be handed over to me in the next few weeks. So we inherited a warehousing capacity of 34,000 metric tons, and at a stroke, we're able to add 80,000 metric tons of capacity to the existing warehouse. Maize, which is, for me, by far the most important food crop in Ghana, because it's the only crop which grows in all the 4 corners of this country, and it's also the staple crop for all ethnic groups. So in terms of food security, it's very, very important. We had never been able to do 2 million, as a country, ever been able to do 2 million metric tons of maize in any year. In fact, in 2016, which was a fairly good year in terms of weather and so on, we did 1.7 million metric tons to 2 million metric tons in 2017 when we started the program. Now, listen to this. 2019, from 2 million, it went to 2.9 million metric tons in 2019. This year, we expect to harvest more than 3.5 million metric tons of maize.
This is the Election Bureau, and this is still the Citi Newsroom on Citi TV. When we come back from the break, we have more stories for you, including elections which are currently underway in the United States of America for a president that will serve the country for the next 4 years.
Details right after this break. Please stay with us.
Sunana Abdulrazak. Last week, I received a message from Bet Planet. Come on, now in golden ticket. Nadan je saya ma Mercedes Benz inda. Ban ba ku yadda ba kuma gashi nan ga sunana kai. Ban ga na gora kaman gaskiya ne. Mun na son ce na gode Bet Planet. Na gode ma kowa.
If you win, no one win like Bet Planet. My baby, hold it low. If you win, no one win like Bet Planet.
Hi, my name is Salamatu. Yes, these are both me. You see, before free SHS, my life could have taken 2 very different paths. The SHS path depended on how much money my parents had, what sacrifices they were willing to make, and whether they would send me or my little brother Issa to SHS. The other part is what would have become of me if there was no free SHS. But today, thanks to free SHS, my future is bright and promising.
Congratulations, you have a name.
He's a boy. Instead of depending on others, I will stand on my own feet and help my family. Free SHS is where my dreams for a better future and the dreams of thousands of young girls become a reality. Don't let NDC take it away from us. Vote for NPP and give all Ghanaian girls a chance for a better future.
2 weeks ago, I had nowhere to turn to. I needed funds urgently. That's when I ran into Wafakofi. Ah, it's you, Wafakofi.
Hello.
It's good I saw you here.
Really?
You know, with businesses restarting after the lockdown, getting funds has been really difficult to pay for some of the goods in high demand, and my supply is no longer selling on credit.
Sister Ama, my financial partner is Advanced Savings and Loans. Advanced stayed by my side all through the COVID crisis. They offered me grace period. They also gave me advice on how to manage my business, and now they are here to help me clear my containers by offering me a loan.
Are you sure they are giving out loans even during the COVID pandemic?
Yes, Advanced Ghana has you covered.
So that's how I got a loan to stock up my shop.
Call us on 0800 355 355 or visit our nearest branch for our various loan and deposit products. Advance,
your preferred financial partner.
You've come a long way from where you started, and in that time, you've upgraded a lot. But have you upgraded your entertainment? When you upgrade to GoTV Max, everyone gets an upgrade. Football fans can up their game with La Liga and get all new action with the NBA and NFL on a brand new channel, ESPN. The kids will go crazy for the most popular kids shows, and family night is sorted with blockbuster movies on TNT. Plus, our local celebrities will keep you connected to your continent, while our general entertainment channels will take you international. There's a whole lot for the whole family when you upgrade to GoTV Max. So make the move today and give your family an upgrade they'll love. GoTV. Live it, love it.
Many thanks for staying with us. Now, a group known as the Concerned Drivers Association is asking the Driver and Vehicle Licensing Authority, DVLA, to refund monies it took from its members in 2018 to cover the cost of first aid kits. According to the group, although the kits were sold to members for 108 cedis, they found out that the market price was far less than that. The association is thus given the DVLA 2 weeks to refund monies to its members who were not given the kits. Correspondent Calvis Tete reports.
According to leaders of the Concerned Drivers Association, members were made to pay 108 cedi each for the kit, but only a few of them received the kit. The association is also unhappy with the DVLA because they claim the price for the kit was quite exorbitant compared to the open market price. In January 2018, the Driver and Vehicle Licensing Authority instituted a charge of 108 cedi for motorists to acquire first aid kits. But according to the drivers, these kits were selling between 10 to 21 cedis on the market. The public backlash forced the authority to cancel the initiative. But the association says DVLA has failed to refund monies paid by some of its members in 2018, although they have not received the kits. The association's secretary, Asunaba Nana Redu, says they are giving DVLA 2 weeks to refund the monies or face the arrest.
The DVLA in January 2nd, 2018 instituted a charge of 108 Ghana cedi to motorists for first aid kits, which at that time was being sold on the market ranging between 10 Ghana cedis and 21 Ghana cedis. The DVLA acknowledged that there has not been the necessary public education, discussion, and sensitization with relevant stakeholders. Accordingly, apologize to the public for any inconvenience occasioned.
Some members of the association who paid for the kit but are yet to receive it spoke to Citi News.
In fact, press number 1.1.
Once we say 2 weeks, if the 2 weeks doesn't come, we know what to do. Even we indicate here. This time they need our tongue. So we will not say we will go to demonstrate. We are going to demonstrate against them. No, our tongue is waiting for 7th December.
Elections are currently underway in the United States of America for a president that will serve the country in the next 4 years.
Well, President Donald Trump, contesting on the Republican ticket, is being challenged by Democratic Party nominee Joe Biden, vice president in the Barack Obama administration, but he has been in U.S. politics since the 1970s. The following report brings you an update on happenings regarding the electoral process in the U.S.
Voting in America started on Tuesday with a large number of voters in one of the most contentious presidential elections in decades, in which incumbent Republican Donald Trump is being challenged by Democratic Joe Biden. Despite the COVID-19 pandemic, Nearly 100 million people have already cast their ballots in early voting, putting America on course for its highest turnout in a century. About 239 million eligible voters are expected to partake in the 2020 elections, unlike in 2016, where a winner was declared not too long after voting ended. This year's elections will have a slight difference. The mail-in ballots, or those sent in via post, could take days or even weeks to be counted in some states, indicating that a winner might not be declared in the hours after the polls close on Tuesday. Biden has pocketed his first election victory by winning all 5 votes of a small New Hampshire town that has over the years been quick to declare its results. The outcome in Disville Notch on the US-Canada border was revealed just after midnight on Tuesday, marking 60 years since the tradition began. Meanwhile, in Millsfield, 20 kilometers to the south, President Trump won 16 votes to Biden's 5. The eve of Election Day 2020 was packed with rallies as U.S. President Donald Trump visited North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin, which is considered as the 4 battleground states, while his Democratic challenger Joe Biden spent his day in Pennsylvania, supported by former President Barack Obama, who made stops in Florida and Ohio. Polls will close across the U.S. at different times on Tuesday, anywhere after 6 a.m. and before 9 p.m. U.S. time.
And that'll be all on this edition of the Citi Newsroom. You can log on to our website, citinewsroom.com, for more information on our top stories and more.
Subscribe to CityTube on YouTube for more exclusive video content from Citi TV.
Download the Citi Newsroom app from the Google Play Store or the App Store and keep updated on the go.
You can also watch Citi TV on DSTV channel 363 and on Go TV channel 182.
My name is Zoe Abubedu Ado.
Mine is Nanatifo Boateng. Many thanks for watching.
Citi TV is live on DSTV. Go to channel 363. On Go TV, access Citi TV on channel 182. On a digital TV, please press the menu button on the remote control and run a new search on your TV. Take note that without an antenna, you cannot access Citi TV on your television. Citi TV can be accessed on a free-to-air digital box like the Go TV and Star Times box. Citi TV, it's your world.
That's kind of cynical. I mean, because I'm not sure that all that we have done have necessarily been to the benefit of middle class or wealthy people. So we will get to that.
Tune in to The Point of View this and every Monday and Wednesday at 9 p.m. as I, Bernard Avile, get the right guests, ask them relevant questions on issues that matter to you.
When MBB came, because they were not putting money in the sinking fund.
They were not putting money in the sinking fund.
Yes.
That's why this curve is going up.
The money was going to the sinking fund, but it was not being applied to debt.
I think that there's a lot of apocryphal conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
Around, and it's not different from 5G causes coronavirus, COVID-19, and things like that. So there's been this long-term held belief that somehow there are some people that have planned that they will bust hundreds of thousands of people to come and change Ghanaian electoral outcome. There is no evidence for it. There is absolutely no evidence for it.
I am saying that we have very professional herbalists in this country whose capacity I know because I've tried it. But also there are quack ones within them. And the earlier we weed them out, the better for us.
Remember, The Point of View is live every Monday and Wednesday at 9 p.m. only on Citi TV.
The Point of View is powered by Airtel Tigo. Have you heard that Airtel Tigo calls from 5 a.m. to 10 a.m. and Airtel Tigo money transfers are now free on new SIMs? Now you know. Airtel Tigo. Life is simple. Business Dashboard is sponsored by ADB Bank, Truly Agric, and more.
Hello and welcome to the Business Dashboard here on Citi TV. My name is Mina W. Coming up, Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC) cautions the general public against PBay Limited, an entity claiming to facilitate payment of customers' locked up funds. Also, World President of the International Advertising Association calls for the establishment of the Brand Ghana office by the Act of Parliament. And later, we'll take a look at the business of running an internet cafe, which seems to be losing value due to the proliferation of smartphones and access to mobile phone internet. All that and more coming up in the next 30 minutes. But first, the Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC) is cautioning the general public against PBay Limited, an entity claiming it can facilitate the payment of locked up funds of customers. The entity allegedly claims that it has the capacity to assist customers of some SEC regulated market operators whose licenses were revoked in return for fees or a commission. SEC says its investigations have revealed that there's no company duly registered by the Registrar General's Department under that name. It further cautions the general public and investors that neither the SEC nor the official liquidator, that's the Registrar General, have authorized the actions of PBay Limited. The Commission is therefore admonishing the general public to submit their claims and support documentation only to publicly announced and designated persons in accordance with statutory notices issued or published by the official liquidator or the Securities and Exchange Commission. It says anyone who disregards this warning does so at his or her own risk. Now, Parliament has approved the Ghana Enterprises Agency Bill under the certificate of urgency. The Ghana Enterprises Agency Bill will convert the National Board for Small Scale Industry, NBSSI, into an agency to oversee, coordinate, promote and develop micro, small and medium enterprises. Speaking to the media, a Deputy Minister of Trade and Industry, Robert Ahunka Lindsay, said the conversion of the NBSSI into a fully fledged agency is aimed at formalizing the MSME sector to make it easier for players in that sector to access credit.
When we say promote and support, it covers all aspects. So it starts with a very simple yet important factor, which is defining what is a small, what is a micro, what is a small, what is a medium. Once you define that, you look at the challenges that are faced by this sector of the economy, such as the fact that they're largely informal. Because they're largely informal, as I said the last time, it becomes very difficult to actually have policies that touch them. So helping them formalize. Once that is done, you look at some of the challenges they face. Now you have a situation where the MBSSI has business resource centers around the country and business advisory centers. Then is ensuring that within these business advisory centers provide the support they need. A critical element also of the new agency that it has the ability to raise fund. And not has ability, it is going to raise a fund that is targeted specifically at MSMEs to provide them finance. And you know, finance is one of the key constraints to most of our micro, small, and medium. But it's not just finance, because it is everything to do with helping them keep better accounts, understanding the importance of business management, encouraging them to grow, because most of our businesses are just simply too small. And so we have to encourage some of the micros to go into small, some of the smalls, the medium, some of the mediums into the large. And then ensuring those that are capable can then play their full role in the value chain of the bigger industries, such as the automobile industry, the petrochemical industry, the 1D, 1F, etc. So it is an all-encompassing, and the agency has quite a job in its hand, but it's an important job that this bill will give it the teeth and the tools to be able to do that.
Now, recently named chairman and world president of the International Advertising Association, Joel Nete, has called for the establishment of the Brand Ghana office by an act of parliament to ensure the office receives dedicated funding. And this, when done, will enable the country to have a dedicated outfit projecting Ghana to the world and attracting the needed foreign direct investment. The comments were made when leadership of the advertising industry paid a courtesy call on President Akufo-Addo at the Jubilee House. The following report has more.
The first Brand Ghana office was established under former President John Atta Mills in 2009 to primarily handle the development of an exciting and captivating national image for Ghana. After years of inactivity, the office was replaced under the current administration by a committee made up of the Ghana Tourism Authority, the Ghana Investment Promotion Center, and the Ghana Export Promotion Authority, among others, to carry out the work of the now defunct outfit. Commenting on the state of Brand Ghana and the lack of a concerted effort by stakeholders to push the image of the country in a sustained manner, after his introduction to President Akufo-Addo as the new chairman and world president of the International Advertising Association at the Jubilee House, Joel Nete said the potential benefits from a well-curated brand for Ghana cannot be realized if a long-lasting Brand Ghana office is not established.
It takes concerted effort. Now, I've had occasion to mention to various ministers across various governments, to be honest, what my thoughts are on how we can sustain a solid national brand, because the benefits for the country of having a solid national brand, we can name them. Campaigns like Malaysia, Truly Asia, Incredible India, the South African campaign, these are not things that happen by chance. There's method to that madness that gets the kind of results. I have proposed before, and now that I have an opportunity to sit before you, Mr. President, I don't get that very often, so I'm going to propose to you, just for your consideration, that very much like President Kufuor in his time set up EDIF by an act of parliament, for as long as the Brand Ghana office or the Secretariat or the National Ghana office is just seen as a particular government's initiative, it will get pushed around. But if we actually consider setting a Brand Ghana office up by an act of parliament with clear funding streams, I remember the EDIF one was, I think, 0.5% of the revenue from imports or something. I don't know. I mean, the trade minister is here, the honorable trade minister, the honorable finance minister, I'm sure will have a say. But whatever it is, if we can delineate clearly that this is the Secretariat, this is what they are supposed to do, this is what their funding or source is, I am 100% sure that the value that we will bring to Ghana, the gestural value that we will bring to Ghana by having a solid Ghana national brand, will live for generations untold.
Meanwhile, the Executive Secretary of the Advertising Association of Ghana, AAG, Francis Dadzie, called on President Nana Akufo-Addo to intervene in ensuring the passage of the Advertising Council Bill.
We have been at it since 2010, trying to get regulation into our industry, because all over the world, every country has an advertising council that regulates the standards and practice of advertising. And it looks like our neighbors, Nigeria, Togo, they all have it, but Ghana has been lacking.
You're watching the Business Dashboard on Citi TV. We'll take a breather here. When we return, we'll take a look at the business of running an internet cafe, which seems to be losing value due to the proliferation of smartphones and access to mobile internet. Details after the break. Do stay.
ADB is pleased to roll out its new mobile banking app. Download the ADB mobile application from Google Play Store or the App Store and enjoy limitless possibilities on your smartphone. After downloading the ADB mobile app, sign up at your nearest ADB branch and change your default password, which will be sent to your email after setup. You are activated to enjoy the most convenient and smart way of banking. Experience mobile banking anywhere in any time, such as account balance and transaction inquiry, instant transfer of funds to other customers in different domestic banks, transfer to any mobile money wallet in Ghana, airtime top-up for all networks, utility payments for DSTV, GoTV, ECG, Surfline, Vodafone broadband and postpaid, ADB, truly agric, and more.
You've come a long way from where you started, and in that time, you've upgraded a lot. But have you upgraded your entertainment? When you upgrade to GoTV Max, everyone gets an upgrade. Football fans can up their game with La Liga and get all new action with the NBA and NFL on a brand new channel, ESPN. The kids will go crazy for the most popular kids shows, and family night is sorted with blockbuster movies on TNT. Plus, our local celebrities will keep you connected to your continent, while our general entertainment channels will take you international. There's a whole lot for the whole family when you upgrade to GoTV Max. So make the move today and give your family an upgrade they'll love. GoTV. Live it, love it.
You're welcome back. This is the Business Dashboard on Citi TV. To some more stories. Globally, some businesses have been hugely affected in the way they operate, largely due to the impact and advancement of technology. In Ghana, one of such is the business of running an internet cafe. People barely spend time to physically visit internet cafes because gadgets like smartphones and laptops, as well as easy access to internet on the go, makes life easier. In this report, Citi Business News' Ellen Dapa takes a look at the business of running an internet cafe, which seems to be losing value due to the advanced technology.
About 10 to 15 years ago, one of the major ways by which people could send emails, browse or carry out any online activities on the internet was to stop by an internet cafe. Internet cafes were important places to go get connected to the rest of the world because they brought the internet closer to everyone. But in recent times, the increased usage of mobile internet and advancements in technology permeating all levels of society has led to fewer people having the need to go to any cafe to surf the net. According to the National Communications Authority, as of November 2015, Ghana had over 35 million active phone lines with access to mobile internet. This development has led to a slowdown of the internet cafe business. When Citi Business News visited Membo Cafe at Laboni in Accra, the place was almost empty. Charles, the operator at the cafe, confirmed that on an average, the cafe could receive only 10 customers in a day, which wasn't so years back.
Our business has not been like it is before, because when I was growing up and I was going to cafes, it was not like this. It was like a full place. But now, a lot of things has changed. smartphones and others. So people tend to do whatever they can do on the computer in the house on their mobile phones. They can even type their Word documents, everything on their mobile phones.
At the Judah Cafe at La Paz in Accra, patronage looked a bit better. According to Derek, they have had to engage in other activities such as the sale of shoes and irons to sustain the cafe, which brings in less revenue.
For the internet cafe only, I can say the profit is not all that much because the internet, everybody can access the internet. But because the other stuff like the photocopy and the other things, the news is okay. So guys, we sell slippers here. And we also sell people prepaid. Yes. And we also sell irons. We do laptop repairs, installation. We do a whole lot. We do registration outside the cafe. We do registration. If you want to, US lottery and what do you call it? Canada lottery, a lot.
But how much do these internet cafes charge for their services to be able to survive amidst the low patronage?
5 hours for 5 cedis, 2 hours for 3 cedis, 1 hour for 2 cedis, 30 minutes, 1 cedi, 50 pesos, and then 20 minutes for 1 Ghana cedi.
For the desktop, 1 hour is 2 cedis and 30 minutes is 1 cedi. But for the Wi-Fi, an hour is 4 cedis, 30 minutes is 2 cedis. But there are some cases, the iPhones, they come to do updates. For those ones, 1 hour is 5 cedis and 30 minutes is 30 cedis.
One would wonder, how safe are these internet cafes? In an era where cyber attacks are on the rise, logging in personal details on public devices seems like an idea many people would not want to conform to. But these operators tell Citi Business News that measures are in place to ensure cyber protection and security for their customers.
There's a deep freeze on the machine. Deep freeze is a software when you install it on a machine. Anything you do on the machine, as soon as the machine cut off or as soon as the machine restarts, what you are doing will automatically leave. So if another person comes and log into the system, you won't be able to see what you did. And as soon as it goes off or a time has happened, it goes off, when we open it, your email will log out automatically.
I am the system here. Like, I don't know how to put it. I'm the one controlling all the machines here. So if your time is out, I can log everything out here for you. Yeah. Delete everything out here so that no one will be able to get access to it. Or I can afford you maybe 5 minutes or 3 minutes to just log everything out before you go.
But how do people feel about patronizing internet cafes in this era of powerful mobile devices and improved internet services? Some customers at Judah Internet Cafe spoke to Citi Business News.
We all know the high data costs in our country here. So most of the times we come here to reduce our costs. Because for the internet here, you have high speed here, and you can easily download whatever that you are looking for within some minutes.
True be told, if I had, I wouldn't have even come to any cafe in the first place. But I'm even working on getting any of those those we have in Ghana, like the 4G routers, Surfline, BC, Telesol. But until then, I stick with what I have.
When I have something to do and my phone cannot do, so I just pass here to do it and get back home.
With the various advancements in technology, operators of internet cafes have had to adjust by including things like printing and photocopying in order to boost their business or stay in business. Customers, on the other hand, have also expressed various reasons as to why they would still patronize internet cafes in these times. Reporting for Citi Business News, my name is Elenda Pa.
Now, government has hinted of plans to foster trade relations between Rwanda and Ghana. According to the Foreign Affairs Minister Shelley Ayoko-Botry, the bilateral relationship between Ghana and Rwanda is rendered incomplete without economic trading activities. Speaking at the commissioning of the Rwanda High Commission in Accra, the Minister for Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration, Shelley Ayoko-Botry, said measures are underway for a memorandum of understanding with Rwanda to establish trade relations for mutual benefit.
Our two countries demonstrated a joint commitment to elevate the relations by signing a general cooperation agreement, which will undoubtedly pave the way for further consolidation of our exemplary relations. We also have in place an MOU, a Memorandum of Understanding on Defense and Security, and a bilateral air service agreement, which were signed in July 2016 and June 2018, respectively. Discussions are ongoing to conclude on an MOU on trade and economic cooperation. Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it's worthy of mention that our two countries continue to cooperate at the multilateral level on major issues of regional and global concern, particularly at the United Nations and the African Union for the mutual benefit of our people. I wish to commend the government and people of Rwanda for their invaluable contribution and support to ongoing reforms at the African Union Commission and the establishment of the African Continental Free Trade Area, ACTA.
You're still watching the Business Dashboard on Citi TV. We'll take another breather here. When we return, the Lands Commission will from Monday move away from its manual system onto an online platform. Do stay for the details.
Instead of for us to look for jobs, why don't we start up something which can help to change our fathers, our mothers' life?
I tell the fellow youth, so many of us are without jobs. If we can put ourselves in the hot seat, we can create the jobs.
But in Africa, we actually have needs that if you solve them, you're able to impact the people within the continent.
Without fear, people become more productive. They become daring. They become creative, and they become innovative.
I decided to quit my job. Even if I don't make it, I'll have tried. I will have known that it can't work.
Nothing is magic here. Everyone who arrives somewhere is working day and night.
It's something that will enable you to grow a lot of skills you didn't have.
You're trying to build something that is beyond the borders of this country.
If you want to change the world, right, you might as well start from home.
Election 2020, Ghana makes a choice. Tracking and bringing reports of the presidential and parliamentary campaigns across the length and breadth of this nation.
Analyzing campaign activities and election data with our panelists on the Voters' Diary.
The Voters' Diary is the most factual, instructive, and balanced election 2020 analysis program on television.
The Voters' Diary every weekday on Citi TV from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m.
Stay informed on all the relevant issues on election 2020.
Tune into the Voters' Diary. It's Ghana's choice.
Welcome back to the Business Dashboard. The Lands Commission will from Monday, November 9, move away from its manual system onto an online platform to render a more efficient service to the general public. The Commission says the move is an upgrade of its system aimed at increasing client satisfaction and enhancing its productivity. With the introduction of the Ghana Enterprise Land Information System, the Lands Commission falls in line with government's aim of digitalizing every aspect of the economy. There's more in this report. Reliable land information is essential to support effective land administration and management. However, if the system is to support efficient data analysis and decision-making, then the ability to access this information quickly and link the different data sets in the information system is equally vital. With the introduction of the Ghana Enterprise Land Information System, it will help the Commission complete the base map for Ghana with aerial photography for most of the country, with additional digitization of land records. Executive Secretary of the Commission, Suleimana Dauda Mahama, believes with the Commission ready to fully migrate onto the platform on Monday, November 9, it will further reduce fiscal interactions and its attendant consequences.
So what we are essentially doing is to try to migrate and provide services through a digital platform. So we have created web portals where we will try to get subscribers, we'll provide land administration services to banks, to land surveyors, to the various interest groups that we can think of, to provide such services to them online. And that will ease the traffic to the office, reduce the human interaction, and try to at least improve the efficiency of our services.
The World Bank in 2018 approved a $35 million support to assist government efforts towards improving services and efficiency in land administration by supporting the rollout of the Ghana Enterprise Land Information System. Mr. Mahama says the system will improve the effectiveness of customary land secretariats as it cuts down on the time involved in processing land titles, among others.
You will wonder the number of searches, for example, we do in a day regarding, say, police inquiries. When there are troubles in any areas which involve the police, they come to try to check what is the records position, what is the title position of any piece of land that we are thinking about, we are talking about. So we provide these services, but sometimes because it's manual, retrieving this document the documents takes so long. Sometimes it may take up to 2 weeks just to be able to gather all the information together. But what we've tried to do is to show that with a little bit more of investment, we can move beyond just being so slow in responding to requests that the public makes of us, and try to make it a little.
To some more stories, the Minister for Food and Agriculture, Dr. Wusu Friakuto, has indicated that 51 out of the 81,000 metric ton warehouses that the government promised to establish are ready for use. He further added that the increasing annual production of rice and maize are significantly aiding the government's models of planting for food and jobs, as well as planting for export and rural development. He was speaking at the 7th edition of the Nation Building Updates on the theme Becoming Africa's Food Basket.
We came in, we opened all these 34 warehouses, and not only that, we decided that we were going to build 81,000 metric ton warehouses across the country. And I'm glad to report that out of the 80, 51 are ready to be handed over to me in the next few weeks. So we inherited a warehousing capacity of 34,000 metric tons. And at a stroke, we're able to add 80,000 metric tons of capacity to existing house. Maize, which is, for me, by far the most important food crop in Ghana, because it's the only crop which grows in all the 4 corners of this country, and it's also the staple crop for all ethnic groups. So in terms of food security, it's very, very important. We had never been able to do 2 million, as a country, ever been able to do 2 million metric tons of maize in any year. In fact, in 2016, which was a fairly good year in terms of weather and so on, we did 1.7 million metric tons to 2 million metric tons in 2017 when we started the program. Now, listen to this. 2019, from 2 million, it went to 2.9 million metric tons in 2019. This year, we expect to harvest more than 3.5 million metric tons of maize.
And this is where we bring down the curtains on today's edition of the Business Dashboard here on Citi TV. Our website, citibusinessnews.com, has more information on our top stories and more. Subscribe to CitiTube on YouTube for more exclusive video content from Citi TV. Download the Citi Newsroom app on the Google Play Store, the App Store, and keep updated on the go. You can also watch Citi TV on DSTV channel 363 and GoTV channel 182. My name is Mina W. Thanks for watching and keep watching Citi TV.
Business Dashboard is sponsored by ADB Bank, Truly Agric, and more.
Good morning and welcome to Breakfast Daily. How are you this morning?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Thank you. And to all of you who are watching us, whether it's on Facebook, on DSTV, wherever you're watching us from, welcome to Breakfast Daily. My name is David Kweku Sechi.
And I am Jiva Eke Amatam. Of course, it's an interactive show, so wherever you're watching us from, we want to hear from you. Just use the hashtag Breakfast Daily to join the conversation.
Yes, and our WhatsApp line is 0550585832. If you happen to be outside Ghana, kindly prefix that number with +233.
Now, every morning we start the show with some words of inspiration, especially now with everything that's happening. Let's take a look at our quote this morning.
So the quote of the day today comes from E.E. Cummins, and it says, "It takes courage to grow up and turn out to be who you really are." It takes courage to grow up and turn out to be who you really are. It's deep.
Yeah.
So, I believe what E. Cummins is saying here is that who we are is something that we discover. It's something that we grow to become.
Yeah.
And to be that, it's not going to be just running away from the slightest thing that scares us. But we have to face our fears, face the challenges, face the difficulties. And through the process, we get to find out who it is that we actually are.
Yeah, definitely. And I think as children, when you're a child, you're so filled with love, you're so fearless. There's something will happen to you. So many things will happen to you. People who throw so many things at you. It's more difficult to stay true to who that child was, to not allow any experience change you for the worse and say, okay, I've taken this, I've learned from it, I'm still going to be this person. We all know people in our lives where we're like, when this person was a child, when they were teenagers, they were so filled with life, they were so positive, they were just so big on life and extroverted, and somewhere along the line, life just beat them down so much that you meet them and you can't even recognize them.
Yeah, that's true.
So it takes a lot of courage to say, in spite of all these challenges, in spite of all these failures, in spite of all these disappointments that I've had to experience, I'm still going to be that person. I'm still going to choose me.
Yeah, anyway, so, talking about the boldness and courage to take certain decisions, to do things that, we feel that will make a difference to who it is that we are. In the news recently, there's been this whole brouhaha about the Japan deal, and it's for me. I mean, I'll make my comments a bit later, but it's a bit troubling, But the president has taken a decision and says the deal should be taken back to Parliament for Parliament to take a look at it again. And so let's take a look at what it is that the president says.
The special prosecutor's risk assessment of the deal was necessitated by the extreme positions taken by various stakeholders right after the agreement was passed by Parliament. The Ejapa royalties deal was a special purpose vehicle created in tax haven Jersey to manage Ghana's gold royalties. The vehicle was to raise an amount between $500 million and $750 million from investors when the initial public offering on the London stock market is completed.
Instead of waiting for royalties to trickle in gradually and be dissipated, you want to front load the royalties in a manner that will enable the government gain room to invest in actual developmental infrastructure.
The minority walked out of Parliament when the Finance Committee presented its report for approval of the deal following the use of the phrase Papano by the Minister of Information, Kojo Pon Nkrumah.
I want to encourage my good friend who just spoke. In my hometown, we say Papano. 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 I want to encourage Papano to take some time and follow the structure of this transaction.
We take strong objection to it. If you don't withdraw, we will recognize you today as minister. We will refer to you as minister. We will not do what you do.
But this was just one of the many issues raised by stakeholders who had problems with the deal. About 18 CSOs described the deal as opaque and called for broader stakeholder consultations.
To suspend the implementation of the Mineral Income Investment Fund Act until all documents relating to the establishment of the special purpose vehicle and its beneficial owners have been disclosed.
Former President John Dramani Mahama also promised to terminate the agreement when voted into power.
Why will government of Ghana mortgage our gold royalties to a private company in which we have 51% shares? Some shady individuals we don't know have taken 49% shares. On what basis did they take those shares? And they've gone to register in Jersey, an offshore tax haven.
But government, through the finance minister, attempted allaying fears of stakeholders, describing the deal as the best for Ghana.
Companies utilize their assets to our concessions and future resources as a means to invest in new exploration, new development, technology, diversification, and ultimately to reduce their cost of borrowing. We can leverage these same parties who give companies funding.
With the special prosecutor completing the assessment, the president has directed the entire deal to be sent back to Parliament for all concerns to be addressed. In addition, the selection of transaction advisors, which was not sent to Parliament for approval, is supposed to be sent to the Legislative House. The finance minister has, however, in his response to findings by the special prosecutor, denied any wrongdoing in the.
So that's a wrap up from our colleague Hansen Ajaman. We heard from the president directing the finance minister to take the deal back to Parliament. We've heard from the finance minister saying that they actually followed due process. A few more people are speaking. For example, the former president, John Dramani Mahama. Some other people are also saying it shouldn't even go back to Parliament. We should just wait it out for the next Parliament. And I think even the president agrees with that. But the chairman of the finance committee is also speaking, and he says that Martin Awiju did a sloppy job because he himself was not even consulted on this whole investigative piece. So should we take a look at what he said? Let's take a look.
Parliament passed the Ejapa Royalties Agreement on 14th August 2020 to monetize Ghana's gold royalties amid controversy. On Monday, 2nd November, a corruption risk assessment conducted by the Special Prosecutor, Martin Amidu, was made public. Concerns raised by the Special Prosecutor include lack of consultation and bid rigging in the processes. President Akufo-Addo has subsequently directed that the agreement be returned to the House. Reacting to the comments, Chairman of the Finance Committee, Dr. Mark Esibeyeboa, whose committee worked on the agreement, said the Special Prosecutor's work can best be described as a sloppy job.
He came to Parliament gathering our reports and the work he's done as if he's going behind us to get some information. How nobody sits in the Finance Committee meetings, okay? So who best to speak to when you want to know what has transpired at the Finance Committee? This is
work that started in 2018 on the passage of the Minerals Income Investment Fund law, subsequently its amendments, then these agreements. These have been the committee for the better part of 2 years. And so for him to suggest that he doesn't think that the committee did a thorough job scrutinizing these, maybe he doesn't appreciate numbers.
Minority Leader Harun Idrisu said the minority will not change its position on the agreement if the Minister of Finance presents the agreement back to the House.
You want to take gold revenue for the next 10, 15 years? What does that mean to the state? What does it mean to chiefs and people who earn a portion of the Mineral Development Fund? Government ministers were joking and reduced that transaction to a trifle.
What will be your further call? Are you calling for it to be totally scrapped, suspended? What is your call as a minority leader?
The minority is not likely to change its position on Ajapa. We don't support it today, we don't support it tomorrow, we don't support it into the future.
But the majority leader, Osei Mensah Bonsu, insists the minority's position is preposterous.
The main crux of Harun's intervention was that they didn't have time and that they were given only 4 hours, which he knows between him and his God was a palpable untruth. On 2 days at least, we had to tarry because he was going up north. And he pleaded with me that we should hold on until he returned. And we did so. So for him to say that we had only 4 hours, to me, I think Parliament doesn't work that way. Playing to the gallery that way doesn't help anybody. Let's respond to truth. Is it true that Parliament was given only 4 days? That certainly is a palpable untruth. We had more than 4 days to work on this. That doesn't mean that whatever parliament or any parliament anywhere in the world does is sacrosanct.
MP for Jirapa, Dr. Francis Dakura, also commented on the raging issue, maintained that the agreement is not in the best interest of the country.
If they had allowed a free debate, they would have picked even from their side, because in a debate you are pushed so that your counter push will let better ideas come out. Then they could have fine-tuned this whole Ajapa thing, and they could have avoided the embarrassment that is put them through. But because of party line, partisan line and all that, people who could have helped in a very objective debate, even for the MPP side, failed to do it and wouldn't do it because they don't want to fall victim and perhaps get victimized. So it ended up a good, perhaps, proposition and have been a very bad dose. And that is what we have.
On the floor of the House, members approved the request for a sovereign bond of up to $5 billion as contained in the budget for the first quarter.
All right, so those are some of the views from the members of the House of Parliament. And I just think that, look, we all, regardless of whichever side we stand, we all need to think of Ghana first. Those who are proponents of the deal say that, look, there's nothing untoward that has gone on. Those who are against the deal say, listen, it's shrouded in mystery, and that even the directors of are not known, But then those who are proponents of the deal say, listen, the IPO cannot happen without declaration of directors anyway. So what are you talking about here? Wait till the right time for everything and it will come out clear. Well, right now, it's going back to Parliament, okay? Whether there will be a rescinding of the entire deal so that it starts afresh, or they come up with something else, or, there may be amendments, amendments of parts or of everything. I'm not sure what Parliament is going to do about it, but at this point it is going back to Parliament. And I think that we need to think about Ghana first. We need to think about posterity. We need to think about the future. We can't just look at things short term. We need to think 200 years time, 300 years time. We can't be thinking 10, 20, 30, 40 years time. All right, and the people who live on those lands where there are mineral resources and all of them, have they historically benefited? What do we think about that? What's our approach to fixing those things? Yeah. All these are conversations that we need to have on a broader scale, you know. Those are some of my thoughts. Yeah.
And for me, I must commend the special prosecutor because the report he brought out was so comprehensive. And I think this is the highlight of his entire journey as a special prosecutor. Our gold is something that we can't take for granted. Historically, foreigners have come into this country, benefited more from our raw materials all the way from Kwame Nkrumah's time.
And before.
When we talk about our bauxite, we go into agreements with foreign companies, foreign individuals, foreign governments, thinking that we will get something out of it. Our self-interest will be served as well. Years later, decades later, when the party that agreed to the contract is no longer in power, we find out that we got the lower end of the deal. So I think, for me, I'm disappointed in the partisan nature this conversation has taken. For once, I would have expected us all to just put Ghana first. 10, not even 10 years, 50, 80 years from now, none of us will be here. What will the future generation have? Even years ago, when we had all these things, we can see, you go to places like Obuasi, you go to Takwa, you go to all these communities, nothing. You look at us, we're still struggling. So for me, this isn't the time to be playing because I'm in majority, let me agree. Because I'm in minority, let me disagree. The special prosecutor has done a great job. Now moving forward, how do we position the conversation in a way that if we are to go ahead, because I mean, the finance minister knows his stuff. He's one of the best brains on this continent. So I don't want to think that it's just something about, corruption, blah, blah, blah. And the special prosecutor has every right to say, these are the loopholes I've seen. Now, what I would expect members of parliament, leaders of this nation to begin to do is, all right, how do we take what the special prosecutor brought out, what the president has said, what the finance minister is saying, and collectively find a path forward that will serve the next generation. And I think I'm more disappointed in the response we've received than even this whole corruption allegations.
Yeah, my final thoughts on that basically are that, look, when we talk about the different areas around Ghana where we've benefited from as a nation, but they have lost out pretty much in terms of where we mined and where we, drilled and all of those things. We need to write better deals. We need to negotiate better deals so that those areas benefit at the end of the day. It's important.
And the entire nation benefits, because if we're not negotiating well because we're in a rush, we all lose out. But it's now time for us to take a look at news making rounds across the country with News Roundup.
Good morning and welcome to News Roundup on Citi TV. From the Ashanti region, I am Fati Amini Ibrahim. In this edition, liquefied petroleum gas stations in the Ashanti regional capital, Kumasi, have resumed full operations after several days of closure, leading to an acute shortage. For days, users of LPG for both domestic and commercial purposes were left stranded in Kumasi following a strike by the National Tanker Drivers Union. Some who spoke to Citi News say the situation gravely affected their activities. Meanwhile, following the resumption of services, consumers are calling on authorities to work to prevent such occurrences. Moving on, police at Aguna in the Setre South District of the Ashanti region are holding 2 persons for possessing 220 parcels of a substance suspected to be Indian hemp. The two, a 59-year-old poultry farmer, Solomon Ajenim Boateng alias Wofa, and his 65-year-old laborer, Kasi Castro, were arrested during a police swoop at Biamoase, a suburb of the district. The arrest by police in the area follows a directive by the Ashanti Regional Police Command for routine swoop to be carried in police districts in the region. Police, upon a tip-off, arrested 3 persons, including the owner of the poultry farm, and were able to retrieve the substance during its investigations. The Setre South District Police Commander, Superintendent Kofi Gamson, confirmed the arrest. According to police, One of the suspects, Ajenim Boateng, was in 2019 arraigned at the Jabin court for indulging in drug-related crime. Police say an investigation is currently underway to apprehend all those involved. Finally, the Ministry of Agriculture has assured farmers in the Ashanti region of its continued support to enable them to increase their yields and reduce post-harvest losses. According to the ministry, a program aimed at achieving the same has already benefited some 130 farmers nationwide. The beneficiary farmers include the 2019 regional and overall best farmers in the country. The initiative, they say, will expand the marketing terrain of farmers. Director and Human Resource Manager at the Ministry of Food and Agriculture, Lawete Tete, revealed this at a 3-day capacity building workshop organized for farmers in the Ashanti region. That's all for News Roundup from the Ashanti region. My name is Fati Amini Ibrahim. Many thanks for watching.
This is News Roundup from the Bono region. I am Michael Sapon Infum. The Bono Regional Police Command has identified 7 flashpoints in the region ahead of the December 7, 2020 polls. The identified areas are Banda Hinkro, Nkran Kwanta, Drobo, Japekrum, Sinase, Niabrekum, Sampa, and Insuatre. The police have, however, assured residents in the named areas of their security, since it will deploy adequate personnel to the identified hotspots. The command is further warning persons or groups who intend fomenting trouble during the elections that they will be ruthlessly dealt with. The Bono Regional Public Relations Officer of the Ghana Police Service, Chief Inspector Kingsley Augustinopong, disclosed this in Sunyani at a workshop organized for journalists by the Ghana Police Service in collaboration with the Ghana Journalists Association. Speaking at the program, the Bono Regional Director of the National Commission for Civic Education, Ms. Doris Gbangbo, says her outfit is currently engaged in sensitization programs at the identified flashpoints to ensure free and peaceful elections in December. Lastly, the Bono Regional Organizer of the New Patriotic Party, Rashid Kolambek, says he is optimistic the party would win all the 12 parliamentary seats in the region in the December elections. He believes the many impactful policies implemented by the Nana Addo-led administration will inure to the benefit of the party in all the 12 constituencies of the region. He said this when he donated 30 motorbikes, 2,000 t-shirts and mobile phones to the 12 constituencies in the Bono region. He further urged the party in the region to intensify its house-to-house campaign strategy. That ends News Roundup from the Bono region. I am Michael Saponifu.
Welcome to News Roundup here in the Upper West region. My name is Latif Mahama. In the news, the overlord of the Wala traditional area, Na Seydou Fuseni Pelpo the Safe, has charged leadership of the various political parties in the country to impress upon their supporters to act peacefully during the December polls. According to him, evidence has shown that intemperate language, mudslinging as well as vitriolic attacks on persons have never won any party elections in the country, hence the need for politicians to engage in issue-based campaigns ahead of the elections. Na Seydou Fuseni Pelpo, who was speaking at the annual Dumba Festival of the Chiefs and People of the Wala traditional area, also called on political parties to be measured in their promises to the electorates. This year's celebration marks the centenary anniversary of the Dumba Festival. It brought together people from all walks of life, including the running mate of the NDC, Professor Nana Opoku Agyeman. Still in the news, the MPP parliamentary candidate for Wa Central, Hajia Umu Audu, is asking residents to reject the incumbent member of parliament for the area, Dr. Hassan Rashid Pelpo, in the upcoming parliamentary elections. Dr. Rashid Pelpo is seeking to retain the Wa Central seat for the 4th time on the ticket of the main opposition National Democratic Congress. But speaking at a mini rally at Boli, Hajiya Umu said the Wa Central constituency has not seen the needed development during the 3-term period of Dr. Rashid Pilpu. She accused the NDC Wa Central lawmaker of lacking the requisite lobbying skills to catapult the constituency from what she termed as abject poverty. The Wa Municipal Chief Executive, Isahaku Mumin Tahir, who contested but lost to Hajiya Umu in their last parliamentary primaries, charged the people to vote massively for her and the NPP to bring the needed development to the constituency. Hajiya Umu used the occasion to donate street lights to the community. She also commissioned a newly constructed party office and inaugurated a youth working committee of the NPP. Finally, the president, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, has charged the leadership of the Wala Traditional Council to take urgent steps to resolve all chieftaincy and land disputes in the traditional area. He said even though the Upper West region is touted as one of the most peaceful regions in the country, chieftaincy and land disputes continue to threaten the peace of the area, a situation he decried. The president gave these remarks in a speech read on his behalf at the climax of this year's Dumba Festival, which is celebrated by the chiefs and people of the Wala traditional area. The president also used the occasion to appeal to the youth in the traditional area to desist from engaging in behaviors that will have dire consequences on their lives. This year's Dumba Festival was under the theme Uninterrupted Dumba Festival of the Wala Traditional Area, Our Achievements, Challenges and the Way Forward. And that brings us to the end of News Roundup here in the Upper West region. My name is Latif Mahama.
Hello, good morning and welcome to the News Roundup from the Upper East region. My name is Frederick Awuni. Former Upper East Regional Minister Roxanne Bukari has appealed to the youth of the region to vote massively for the new patriotic party in the December 7 polls. According to Mr. Roxanne, the performance of the Nanados-led government in the last 3.5 years have impacted positively on livelihoods, hence his appeal. Recounting the NPP's policies and pro-poor programs that have ameliorated the plight of the region, Mr. Roxanne charged the youth of the area to see it as a duty to compulsorily retire John Mahama from active politics by voting massively for the NPP to do more for Ghanaians. Speaking exclusively to Citi News in Bogatanga, Mr. Roxanne said it was time to retire former president and flag bearer of the NDC, John Mahama, for good. The Upper East Regional Police Command says it is poised to deal ruthlessly with any election-related violence in the upcoming December 7 polls. According to the command, a total of 241 flashpoints have been identified in the region. The police gave assurances that adequate personnel will be deployed to all polling stations in order to guarantee a peaceful election. Speaking at a crime reporting training in Bogatanga, the Upper East Regional Police Commander, DCOP Ampofoduku, warned that police would deal ruthlessly with criminal elements who intend to disrupt the electoral process. He appealed to electorates to conduct themselves responsibly before, during, and after the elections. And finally, the new Patriotic Party's parliamentary candidate for the Navrongo Central constituency, Tangoba Abayage, says she is confident of winning the December 7 polls by a landslide margin. According to Madame Tangoba, her closest contender in the person of NDC Samson Chirajia poses no serious threat because he has no track record of development in the constituency to show for. Madame Abayage made these comments during a health walk for Peaceful Election 2020 in Navrongo. Speaking to Citi News, the NPP's Navrongo Central parliamentary candidate, who doubles as the Upper East Regional Minister, Tangoba Abayage, said the legacy of the NPP government and her leadership as a regional minister is unprecedented in the history of the constituency. She is confident electorates in the constituency will give her the nod to represent them in Parliament because of her commitment to see the constituency developed. And that ends the news roundup from the Upper East region. My name is Frederick Awuni.
All right, so that is it for the regional news roundup and bringing out all the stories from different parts of the country. Now, later on today, this morning, possibly around 10 o'clock, it may happen a bit earlier, but we're going to get an update from the IGP. Basically, he's been, traveling around the country, looking at the security situation and so on and so forth, and he's promising us that they're going to take care of, security concerns as we lead up to the elections.
Which is great.
Yeah.
Because the CDD report actually found that people are worried about their security, especially this election season. So it's refreshing.
All right. So we'll go to that when it's time.
Philip Kofi Ashong will be joining you later.
Yes. He says he's going to bring us up to speed on all the different things that we've missed in the tech world. So
all right.
Yeah, that's going to come up later.
Nice. But News Review is next. My name is Jifa Eke Awetam.
And I'm David Kwekusechi.
Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
During tough times, we need a competent leader we can trust to keep us all safe.
Nana gave me free water when I needed it most to keep me clean and safe from COVID-19.
Nana gave me lower cost of internet during COVID-19 to operate my small business from home.
Nana told us to trust him to keep our children safe from COVID-19 when we sent them back to school. Nana was right.
Nana gave me free electricity in my hour of need during COVID-19.
Nana told us to trust him to keep Ghana safe from COVID-19.
There is no promise we cannot keep. There is no commitment we cannot honor. There is no delivery we cannot guarantee. There is only one Bethel Logistics Company Limited, a licensed international freight forwarding and clearing agent, a trusted global brand with an extensive network for the movement of air freight and ocean freight worldwide. We are the trusted name for road freight into Western and Northern Africa. We are fully accredited by Ghana Customs and Excise. We cater for all your freight forwarding, customs clearing and forwarding, cross trades, inland transportation, internal cargo tracking systems, customer freight costing and consultancy, cold chain logistics management, logistics and warehousing, quality inspection, and much more. In Accra, Tema, and Takrady, we are always available to ensure easy movement of cargo countrywide. Call us on 0204 528 900 or 0244 707 859. Email info@bethellogistics.com. Locate us in Accra at North Ridge, adjacent Accra Girls High School, or in Tema at Community 4, or in Takrady on the second floor of the GCB building. Website bethellogistics.com. Bethlog, experts in shipping logistics.
And we'll take a look at some online stories, and then we'll introduce our guests who are already here with us. Let's start off with the Ghanaian Times. On the front page of the Ghanaian Times, we have Ghana on way to become self-sufficient in rice production. That's coming from the Agric Minister, and that story is on page 11. Can Parliament reconsider a Japa deal? Majority, minority lock horns over agreement. That story is on page 4. We are not overprinting ballot papers. EC Paris NDC allegation. That story is on page 12. Race to White House, Trump or Biden? That story is on page 13 of the Ghanaian Times. We'll now go on to the Chronicle. The front page of the Chronicle, we have Ijapa deal will be a leaking pipe in public purse. It's coming from Special Prosecutor Martin Amidu. Airbus scandal probe. I'll grill Mahama after elections, says Martin Amidu. Story on pages 2 and 3. We did nothing wrong in Ijapa deal. It's coming from Ken Oforiatta, the finance minister. We'll now go on to the New Crusading Guide. On the front page of the New Crusading Guide, we have Finance Minister Harry's wrongdoing tag. That story is on pages 3 and 10. Says deal has been transparent from onset. Ghana is fast becoming West Africa's food basket. It's coming from the Agric Minister. Stay away from false politics, Chairman Divine tells Reverend Sam. We'll now take a look at the final newspaper, The Custodian. Probe Mahama on Airbus scandal now. Imani Boss and Co. Tells Martin Amidu. Ghana now West Africa's food basket. It's coming from the Agric Minister, and that story is on page 2. Hassan Tampuli will perform wonders as Gushegu MP. That story is on page 3. Ken replies Special Prosecutor on Ijapa deal. We'll now take a look at some online stories, and of course that Ken replies Special Prosecutor on Ijapa deal is on page 2 of The Custodian. On citynewsroom.com, we have elected president should be sworn in Parliament. It's coming from Che Mensah-Bonsu. IGP to brief Ghanaians on policies readiness for 2020 polls today. We'll be covering that live right here on Citi TV. Amidu's corruption risk assessment of Ijapa deal sloppy. Ashibe Yeboah. Parliament can't correct defects of Ijapa deal. Haruna Idrisu. NDC's claims about overprinting of ballot papers misleading. That's coming from the EC. We'll now take a look at some business news from citybusinessnews.com. On citybusinessnews.com, we have Land Commission to commence online services on November 9th. Brand Ghana office must be established by an act of parliament. IAA World President. Educate customers to make informed investment decisions. Economic analyst to financial institutions. Don't pay facilitation fees to access locked up cash. SEC to clients. Ghana at 100 policy framework will propel country's development. Stories coming from the NDPC. We'll now take a look at some global news from BBC.com. US election 2020, tight battle in key states. So Biden, who's a Democratic candidate, has 220, and Trump has 213. And it says right there that you need 270 to win. A lot of people are monitoring that closely. For more news, you can go to citynewsroom.com, and for more business news, you can go to citybusinessnews.com. Now, it is an interactive show, so wherever you're watching us from, we do want to hear from you. If you're on Facebook, you can comment down below. For other social media platforms, the hashtag to use to join the conversation is Breakfast Daily. And if you want to reach us directly, our WhatsApp line is 0550-585832. If you're outside Ghana, please use the country code +233, and we will receive your messages. I have been joined by Dr. Benedicta Fosu-Mensah, who's a lecturer at the University of Ghana, Legon, and a member of the National NDC Communications team. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Thank you so
How
much
are
for
you
being
too?
with us.
It's a pleasure.
I also have with me Laura Tumusa Saka, who's a member of the NPP National Communications team. Good morning.
Good morning, Jifa.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you too?
I'm good. Thank you both for being here and being on time. I think Wednesdays are my favorite days because it's like an all-women's affair. We'll take a look at our first story. I'll read from citinewsroom.com. It says here, we've been transparent with Ejapa deal. Ofoyata replies special prosecutor. So I'm going to give you a breakdown on what the special prosecutor said, as well as the finance minister's response, and then we'll take a look at more stories here. So we're going to scroll down to what the special prosecutor said in the report. The special prosecutor's corruption risk assessment into the controversial Ejapa royalties was made public on Monday, November 2nd, 2020, 2 weeks after it was submitted to the office of the president. In his risk assessment, Mr. Amidu, among other things, raised concerns with the entire deal and processes prior to its approval by Parliament. I'm going to quote the special prosecutor. All the parties to the mandate agreement are deemed to have known the law but ignored it with impunity in signing and implementing the mandate agreement, which is null and void, Abintu as violating the Public Financial Agreement Act 2016 Act 921 and the Public Procurement Authority Procurement Act 2003 Act 663 as amended. Special prosecutor also raised concerns with the appointment of transaction advisors for the deal. He laid down processes he said laid down processes were disregarded by the ministry. The absence of any evidence of approval of the mandate agreement by Parliament under Article 1815 of the Constitution makes the appointment of the transaction advisors also unconstitutional, null and void, and sins against any positive analysis of risk of corruption and anti-corruption assessment in handling of the transaction. So we now go to Parliament, where the chairman of the Finance Committee of Parliament is saying that the special prosecutor did a sloppy job. We know that the finance minister has come out to respond, saying that they followed all due process. The president has asked the finance minister to take it back to Parliament, but Dr. Mark Esibeyebua says the special prosecutor did a very sloppy job. So this one reads, Amidu's corruption risk assessment of a Ejapa deal, sloppy. Chairman of the Finance Committee of Parliament, Mark Esibeyebua, has described as sloppy the report released by the special prosecutor on the Ejapa royalties deal. According to the new Drabin South legislature, the special prosecutor, Martin Amidu, failed to consult the committee which worked on the agreement. I'm going to quote what he told Citi News. We thought the special prosecutor was going to do a thorough job and clear the doubts of Ghanaians. But reading his corruption risk assessment report, this has been a sloppy job because the connected parties, I, as chairman of the Finance Committee, he pronounces on our work. He did not even speak to me. He came to Parliament gathering our reports on the works that we have done as if he's going behind us to get some information. Not everybody sits in the Finance Committee meetings, so who is the best person to speak to when you want to know what transpired with the Finance Committee? I think this is the sloppiest job he has done so far, and if he continues like this, I do not think anyone will take him seriously. So, Laura, I'll start with you.
Yes,
first on the Special Prosecutor's report, President asking Finance Minister to take it back to Parliament, Finance Minister's response, and of course, Dr. Esibe's assessment of the Special Prosecutor's work.
I like the expression on your face whilst asking this question. Good morning once again, and good morning to your viewers. This whole issue started with it's around the Ejapa deal, which we still believe is a good deal.
Okay.
That will help the infrastructure needs of our nation, and especially the mining towns, Obuasi, Takwa, and all those places. And for me, this is not just an issue to do with a party in government as against opposition, or what, but I grew up in Obuasi, and I know the state, all these mining towns. I know Takwa, I know I am free. I know most of the places that gold is mined. So it's a personal thing for me. What was the Japa deal supposed to do? We're supposed to monetize part of our gold royalties, get money to develop our nation fundamentally. And if you know Obuasi like I do, you know Takwa, I don't think anybody who really means well will want to. It's fair for us to go into the nitty-gritties, because at the end of the day, it's state funds. Whether we are going for it up front, we are floating shares and all that. At the end of the day, the MIIF is state-owned. The royalties are for the people of Ghana. But the people who suffer most with the extraction of this mineral are the people who live in those communities.
Yes. And the special prosecutor is saying that the people who went to sign these deals perhaps did not do their due diligence. Isn't that a very...
I'm building my point.
Okay. I want us to get to the special prosecutor.
No, because there's a history to this whole thing.
Yes.
It all started when this whole confusion started, if I should put it that way, when Parliament's minority came out and said the deal was rushed on them.
Well, some civil society
They
organizations
didn't have that.
also
It was
came
after
out.
minority came out that civil society. Yeah, because most of us don't really follow what happens in Parliament unless it has to do with us. How many of us take time to go to Parliament, ask questions, apart from probably some of you journalists who do? But as citizens, how many of us go asking about these questions? So it was after minority came up saying the deal was rushed on them, they didn't have time to review the documents and all that. It was explained. CSOs were met, chiefs were met. One of the things the minority is pushing is the royalties that goes to the chiefs and people. What will be done about it? The chiefs have been met. Then fast forward to after all this brouhaha, Ministry of Finance voluntarily suspends the deal so the special prosecutor can go ahead with the risk assessment, corruption risk assessment. He's come out with this report. And when you read the report, fundamentally, it's just pointing out to some of the things that came out. And there are more of observations, more of a desk review, if I should put it that way. It's been forwarded to the president. And the president, being the incorruptible person that he is, has instructed the AG and the Minister of Finance to relook at the deal and send it back to Parliament, because that is where the whole issue started.
Yes.
They said they couldn't scrutinize it, the documents were rushed on them, so now they're going to relook at it.
Yes, but the special prosecutor mentioned issues of conflict of interest even on the part of the finance minister.
Jiva, like I said, this whole issue started with Parliament.
Yes.
So it's going to go back to Parliament. Who is going? They are the ones going to scrutinize it. By the way, by the workings of our nation, they give approvals for some of these transactions, right? You and I know that they give approval for those things. So if they pick those things up, it's up to them to approve it or not. Right.
So from what you're saying, that means if the minority had not brought attention of the nation to it, we probably could have gone ahead and all these issues wouldn't have been addressed.
You see, don't let us make seem as if someone just got up one day, thought about something, just went in because we have majority in Parliament and passed it. There was the act for the MIIF, Minerals Investment Fund, that was amended in Parliament. Parliament approved it. All those documents went to them. They voted. If you can tell me if any of them voted against it, the answer is there. You can go and check. Minority even praised the deal. It was just after a couple of days that they were asking what we were going to do with 500 to 750,000. I don't know whether it was a panic thing, but this was something that had gone through the process and even led to the setting up of the board, by the inauguration of the board by the president. So now since the president sitting where he is knows it's a good deal for us as a nation, and I've had the benefits of being taken through these things, and for someone who's lived in a mining community, and I can even say I probably still live there because I still have family there. My mom still has a business there and all that. We've seen it.
So what do you have to say about Dr. Makwesi Yeboah?
President Kufuor came to power, you couldn't even wear a white shirt in Obuasi. And when it rains, you dare not roll up a glass when you are sitting in a taxi.
But the underdevelopment of the communities, that's different from people negotiating in the interest of us as a nation and ensuring that we do what's best for all of Ghana.
The AG and Ministry of Finance are going to relook. It's going to go back to Parliament.
Okay.
And if you read the last paragraph of the President's statement, he doesn't even think, no, if it's okay because MPP is in power, let's do it after elections, or let's do it with the next Parliament. That is a president who knows what it's about and is incorruptible.
So you think Martin Amitu did a great job, right?
I think what?
Martin Amitu did a great job of
Well, I can't pass judgment on his job. His report has been done. Let's see what Parliament comes out with.
Okay, thank you. Doc.
Thank you. Good morning to our viewers. I want to use this opportunity to greet my people. As Central Tom, I salute all of you. And His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, I salute you. To the NDC fraternity and the people of Ghana, I salute all of you this morning. I'm just wondering, my sister said that Obuasi has a lot of development challenge, and so the deal was a good deal. And you just wonder whether we are talking about development of Obuasi as against the deal. I think this deal, from the beginning, we said this deal was opaque. It was a deal that was shrouded in corruption. It was a deal that was just out there to milk the funds of the nation Ghana. And from the beginning, minority in Parliament said this deal was not in the best interest of Ghanaians.
But we're using the deal to develop the nation.
That is not the point. The point is, how was the deal, what were the process leading to the passing of this particular deal? Who were the legal advisors or the transaction advisors as far as this deal was concerned? These are the questions, and that is why we are saying that for this deal, there's a kind of nepotism in it. For example, why would Data Bank, which belonged to the finance minister, a cousin of our sitting president, they use that bank as the transaction advisor for this particular deal?
Okay, isn't it a credible institution?
Secondly, the legal backing or the legal institution that was handling this deal happened to be Africa Associates. Again, the owner being the cousin of the president, Ochiri Dako.
Does that still take anything away from us benefiting from the deal and it being good for the nation?
Another point is the fact that why are they saving this deal in tax havens? Why they? Why have they given so much responsibility to the transaction advisor, to the extent that the special prosecutor stated that the kind of powers or responsibility that they have given to him give them the power to even go ahead and negotiate deal on behalf of the country? That is worrying.
But they took it to Parliament.
And that is why minorities said that the deal was opaque, because there were so many questions that were not answered.
Okay.
And the whole process was rushed through. The majority boycotted the discussion on the bill. They went ahead, approved of it. As CSO came out and kind of objected to the deal vehemently. The chiefs came out and said the deal was opaque. It was not in the interest of Ghanaians, and a whole lot of things. There was a lot of public outcry. Yet they went ahead and said it was good, until when the public started discussing this issue, then they realized that no,
something was happening. I want to use this opportunity to say that, look, Ghanaians are very descending people. Ghanaians are becoming Ghanaians are smart people. That no amount of polishing, no amount of information thrown out there can deceive Ghanaians from reading in between the line that this particular deal was just passed to benefit a few.
But the chairman of the Finance Committee of Parliament says that the special prosecutor did not even consult him. So what does this say about the special prosecutors?
Why must he consult him? If yes, but then there are documents out there for the special prosecutor to read
so
and
he should
understand.
Just limit himself to just reading documents without consulting the people?
Why must he consult him? When they came out, I mean, before a deal is passed, there are a lot of documents written, a lot of reports, or they come out with reports on the deal. All the procedures that they have taken to arrive at the conclusion or arrive at the deal. And so if you take that document, that is enough for you to be able to say that, yes, the deal is good, or no, the deal is shredded.
Reading a document is one thing. Interrogating it and engaging the people who worked on the document, that's a completely different thing.
Why should he? Especially the fact that there were people who objected to it. You know, it's like you want to go for somebody to convince you of taking a wrong decision. That is what the chairman of the Finance Committee is saying. For me, for the fact that the minority raised alarm, I mean, let's not say that this whole thing is NDC, NPP thing. No, that is not it. We are talking about Ghana. We are talking about the state. And so it should not be like NDC, NPP.
Isn't that why the special prosecutor should involve every single person whose document he reviewed?
Did the NPP involve so much the minority? Did they have the time to explain to the minority in Parliament when they started asking some questions, started raising alarm? I think that was an opportunity given to them for them to convince the minority that yes, the deal was good, and because of this and that, we think that we should take this.
But the Finance Committee has minorities within it. They reviewed it and they presented it to Parliament.
It is not so. I want to say that, look.
What is not so?
The issue that the
minorities who are part of the Finance Committee.
The issue is that if minority kind of fully supported the deal, why did they walk out?
No, at the committee level, the Finance Committee,
yes,
members
of course.
of the committee who are from the minority.
Yes, if a deal
so if they had such a problem with it, it wouldn't have even gotten to the point of being presented.
That is not the point. If you form a committee, the committee are to sit, digest the issue and come out with a report. At the process of discussion, there is a possibility for people to disagree.
Okay.
So it was at that process that the minority says that no, I think this deal, there is more to it than the ordinary eye can see. It was then that, you know, they contacted the others and said, look, we have gone for this meeting and this and this and this is what is being discussed. And from our point of view, we think that the deal is opaque, the deal is shrouded in secrecy, the deal is going to benefit just a few people and to not be in the interest of Ghanaians. Okay. And that is why they boycotted it.
Okay, thank you. Laura, I'll allow you to respond.
It's very interesting the agent doc is going. And if you want to limit it to just Obuasi, I mentioned Obuasi and other mining areas.
Yeah,
probably you don't know.
No, we
haven't been to any of those, so you don't understand where I'm coming from.
Doc was
but
saying
you see, Doc,
go ahead.
If he gets out of the studio or whilst we're here, there's a commercial break, and I call police to say you've slapped me, which I know you won't anyway. And police just comes and picks you up and locks you up. Will you be happy? You insist on a fair hearing. So if the chairman of the committee says he wasn't contacted, I think it's a fair point, and it's not something we should belabor. Doc, you're a lecturer. When it comes to research, there are different forms of doing research. There are different forms of gathering data. When there's an area of novelty, and you don't have secondary data to use, you go for primary data.
But couldn't he have also gone to the special prosecutor?
This is the first thing.
How do you go? Must he wait for the special prosecutor
to invite the special prosecutor? It's just like saying the institutions that go to PAC can just get up and say, Public Accounts Committee, I'm coming to meet you. But Public Accounts Committee gets all the books, review them before they call the institutions to interrogate them. So
but
I think it's just fair.
The chiefs from these communities are saying that they were not consulted before this Ojapa deal went on.
Look,
so shouldn't the same be said about the process the finance minister went through?
We had a president who said he was a dead goat. Yentiobia went on.
Yes.
Today,
and we're talking about our goals.
That has seen this deal.
Shouldn't we have engaged the chiefs?
The chiefs are being engaged.
No, they said they were not engaged from the beginning. They complained. They came out to say they were not engaged in the process.
You see, Jifa, we all agree from the president's statement, go back and do what has to be done again and send it back to Parliament, right? We are not saying it's a perfect situation. Issues have been raised. The finance ministry voluntarily suspended. Nobody forced them to suspend it. And you see, this is a government that means well for the people and wants the best for the people.
Okay.
If we didn't, we have majority in Parliament. We can bulldoze our way through like others have done.
All right.
But we've gone through the process. The special prosecutor has come out with a response. The president has done the needful thing, done the right thing because of his incorruptible nature. Sent it, go and do it. It was procedural. There were errors. Okay, correct them and send it back to Parliament. That was raising the whole issue that has brought us back here. So if we want to just run around it, if we didn't want the best for the nation, probably would have used our majority to just push it through. And all the NDC can do is shout.
All right, we'll go for a break on that note. This is still Breakfast Daily on Citi TV. It is an interactive show. So if you want to join us, use the hashtag Breakfast Daily. And our WhatsApp line is 0550585832. If you're outside Ghana, just use the country code +233 and we will receive your messages. We'll be right back.
Sunana Abdulrazak. Last week, I received a message from Bet Planet. Come on, now win golden ticket. Nadan je saya ma Mercedes Benz din. Don ba ku yarda ba kuma gashi nan ga sunana kai. Mun ga na gona kaman gaskiya ne. Mun na so ce na gode Bet Planet. Na gode ma kowa.
If you win, no one win like Bet Planet. My baby, hold it low. If you win, no one win like Bet Planet.
Welcome back. It's still Breakfast Daily on Citi TV. It's an interactive show. So wherever you're watching us from, we want to hear from you. Just use the hashtag Breakfast Daily and the WhatsApp line 0550585832 and we'll receive your messages. I have some messages here, so I would read some. Mandy says, I'm loving your show. Give us more of this excitement. All right, thank you. AU Farouk from Tamale says, the majority members should give us a break. They should leave the special prosecutor alone to do his work. Ejapa royalties is a thievery deal and criminal. All right. Eja Adam Enyam says, great Jifra. Good morning, Jifra. For the president to recall the Ejapa royalties deal in the heat of all of this and ask it to be laid in Parliament is a good show of leadership. He comes across as a listening president and a believer in good governance. All right. Positive Change in Medina says, those that have hope and faith that Akufo-Addo and MPP will win power again on December 7th should just forget it. John Mahama has been tried, tested, and approved. All right. Just keep your messages coming. I think Loretta will just wrap it up for us, and then we'll hear from Doc and we'll move on to the next topic because Mahama has something to say about Amidu and the Airbus scandal. Go ahead, Loretta.
No, Jifa, what I was saying was that, like I said, because of the incorruptible nature of the president, he's asked that the deal be looked at and sent to Parliament.
Okay.
You have the minority leader saying they can solve the issues. So why raise the problems when you know you can solve them? So was there an issue at all? And you see, I get sad when we talk about building a nation and we want to run down our local companies. Databank has been in existence since 1990.
Unibank was also a local.
You know what the issues are with Unibank. You know what the issues are with Unibank. Are the issues not in court?
Okay, go
They're
ahead.
in court, so let's leave it.
But
at the end of the day, the wheels of justice grind slowly, but it still grinds to a halt.
But people have conflict of interest concerns.
We all have issues. We all have issues. But when you have the NDC that left all that mess for us to come and clean, seeing some of these things, it's unfortunate.
Okay.
Look, Databank has been in existence since 1990. Just last week, they won #1 securities company. Was it given to them out of the blue, or they ended?
But is it okay for the finance minister to use Databank
over $1 billion funds of 500,000 Ghanaians?
But is it
in 2014?
Laura, so you don't see anything wrong with
Databank
being used for this deal?
Chifa, look, if we want to do that, then we might probably not do anything in this country.
But we just sacked the PPA boss for.
We just sacked the PPA boss. But if you follow this thing, 8 companies, it was restrictive tender. 8 companies were sent requests for proposals. Only 2 responded. Imara, which is Databank's partner, and Golden Sachs, which is has Boulders as their. Those were the only 2 companies that did it, right? If it hadn't gone through any process, if it was sole sourcing, like the way the NDC was doing, then we can be having this conversation.
Okay.
But it went through PPA. There's a PPA approval.
So you don't see anything wrong
There's
with
a PPA
Databank?
approval.
Okay.
Jifa, if we want to be going into reducing these things to individuals, then it will get to a point we won't do that. If your company is doing something and I sit somewhere, or my company, because I've met you on Citi TV before, I might as well not let it go through the process.
But the special prosecutor said all this should have been taken to Parliament, and it wasn't.
Now it's going back to Parliament.
Yeah, so was that not a fault on the part of the...
At the end of the day, why would the president say he should go back to go if he doesn't agree with some of the things that are said? And this is a president who is incorruptible and listens.
All right, thank you. Doc, please briefly, and then we'll move on to the next.
Thank you. I want to say that, look, there's no amount of words that will change the fact that this deal is a stinking deal. It's a deal to milk the public pets. There's no amount of words. You know, Laura too just talked about the fact that Databank is a local bank, and I mean, is it not good to grow local bank? I just want to find out from her. Is UT not a local bank? Unibank is not a local bank? Capital Bank is not a local bank?
Well, those banks were commercial banks.
I mean,
they had
but
management issues, and so
we all know the issues
they had led to
Unibank. We all know the amount of money that the government owes Unibank, and you turn around. It's like I have come to borrow money from you. I'm supposed to pay that money to you so that people who need money can also have access to the money. I've held on to the money. And then I come and I want to assess the amount of money you have. And say, look, because you don't have this amount of money.
No, there were some management issues with these banks.
My brother, my sister,
look, there is more to it. That issue you're talking about,
let's move on.
2016, John Mama indicated that the financial institutions were in crisis. Sorry, but sometimes put the facts. Do not
say that Databank is a local bank. What we are saying is that the deal is a stinking deal. It is a deal to milk the public purse. It is a deal that is not in the interest of Ghanaians. And that is why from the word go, minority in parliament said, no, this deal is not in the interest of the state. And civil society have come out to also say, no, this deal is not in the interest of Ghanaians. I mean, chiefs have come to complain. And I keep on saying that, look, there's no amount of words. I mean, you cannot just throw dust in the eyes of Ghanaians. I mean, we are, we were in this country when we saw what happened even with the BDS deal. And when even this PPA issue came out, I know people came out like, no, it's not true, it's not that, it's not that. Look, Ghanaians are very smart people and would not allow themselves to be deceived. This deal is very stinky. This deal is in the interest of a very few people to milk what belongs to the entire country. And I think as a people, we have to all reject this bill. I mean, sending the bill to Parliament. I'm
so
just wondering what exactly are they going to do? Are they going to find out who were the advisors and the advisors using? It's like, you know, putting my daughter, you know,
but you should be relieved now, because you should be relieved now. Let's not even make that example.
At the first place, that shouldn't
you should be relieved that it's going to Parliament.
I am not. I am not. I mean, these are just gimmick. I would say steps. At the end of the day, they are just waiting, probably waiting for the election. Based on that, they know what to do. But I think that as a country, we should say no to the wrong, even if the person is our mother, our child, or whatever. And I think as a country, we need to abuse, or we need to refuse the issue of using family relation to occupy key position, because it makes us to compromise our position.
Thank you very much, Dr. Thank you. We'll move on now to the next story. I'm reading from CitiNewsroom.com, and it says, I didn't make a single dollar from Airbus deal. Mahama rejects bribery allegations. John Dramani Mahama, the flag bearer of the National Democratic Congress, says he didn't get any monetary benefit from the Airbus deal as is being speculated. I have had my say on the Airbus issue and no financial benefit was accrued to me. Not a single dollar, he insisted. Mr. Mahama made the comments in response to a report issued by the Special Prosecutor, Martin Amidu, in which Amidu, insisted that Mahama was directly involved in the Airbus bribery scandal. So Mr. Amidu, of course, says he's holding on with investigations into Mahama's alleged involvement in the scandal till after December 7th general elections. I'm going to quote the Special Prosecutor. The office has established the identity of the elected government official. One, you know, when the whole scandal came out, someone was being referred to as government official one. A lot of people were speculating that it was actually the former president. To be the former president, John Dramani Mahama, whose brother of the full blood is Samuel Adam Foster, also known as Samuel Adam Mahama. The only reason the former president has not been invited for interrogation, in spite of all threats from some of his followers and lawyers, is the fact that he got himself insurance as a presidential candidate of the other largest political party in Ghana, and prudence dictates that the interrogation be held after the election season. So, Doc, I'll start with you on this.
Thank you. I would want to say that this whole issue of Airbus, you know, coming up, I would say it's more of a mischief.
Really?
Yes.
How can you, on the one hand, accept the
issue is that yes, we are. I mean, our flag bearer have thrown a challenge.
But it's the same Special Prosecutor.
Yes, he is throwing a challenge, or he has thrown a challenge to him that if indeed he has any evidence that he benefited from this so-called Airbus scandal, he should come out with a report. I mean, the Special Prosecutor have been tasked to investigate this issue of a Japa deal, you know, and then in one paragraph you raise issue of Airbus, and then you ask yourself, was the report about Airbus or it was about a Japa deal?
Does it matter?
Is it an attempt to say that or to equalize how stinking Airbus deal with this issue of Airbus, as a way of saying that, oh, NDC have also something? Look, he knows very well how this stinking deal coming up, or the implication of the report, and so he just kind of trying to use this Airbus to more or less, I don't know what to use the word bait or
but there could be people who
around.
Genuinely are curious about what the special prosecutor has been doing about the Airbus scandal.
You've been given a task to do, and the task is to investigate about Ejapa deals.
And he was also investigating Airbus.
Yeah, my point, yes, we are not saying that he should
and
not.
he took this on himself. Nobody gave him the task to do it.
My point is that we are not saying he should not. And that is why our flag bearer, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, has thrown a challenge to him that if indeed he has any evidence, he should write a report and let's discuss it. But I think that this issue of Airbus and the fact that government official one is His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, it's all mischief.
All right.
And I think that no amount of this mischief would stop us from discussing the sticky deal of Ejapa.
Okay, thank you. Lorato,
it's interesting that
is being mischievous.
Well, 90% of the time, when someone says what people think about is actually who they are.
Okay.
You saw the way Doc's energy dropped the moment you asked the question on Airbus.
I didn't notice that.
Well, I noticed. I noticed. She said we are talking about Ejapa and Airbus comes in. We are talking about Ejapa and she mentioned PDS.
Okay.
Right? So she sat here, was charging Ghanaians. Let us all say is wrong when it's wrong, whether it's your mother, your father, your child.
Yeah.
Let me quote the special prosecutor. This office has established the identity of elected government official, one, to be former President John Dramani Mahama, whose brother of the full blood is Samuel Adam Foster, also known as Samuel Adam Mahama.
I've already read the whole thing.
Jifa, please, I'm making my point. It's my time. The only reason the former president has not been invited for interrogation, in spite of all threats from some of his followers and lawyers, is the fact that he has gotten himself insurance as the presidential candidate of the other largest political party and Prudence dictated that the interrogation. If it's my time.
Okay, but we have just 1 minute.
I hope you are wrecking my flow.
Okay, let us continue.
Dictated that the interrogation be held in abeyance during the election season.
Okay.
Doc, this is the former president's brother.
I like your way you have thought.
Right?
Your deal is still
You get it. My vim is still level because when it's right, it's right. When it's wrong, it's wrong.
No, but your vim has gone up.
My vim is standard.
Okay.
You get it.
Okay,
so when we are doing some of these things, in one breath, what the special prosecutor said about Ejapa is sacrosanct. In another breath, what he's saying about Airbus is mischievous. What inconsistency is this?
But you didn't read what he said about Ejapa, though.
The same shit, because I have the facts.
Okay, but you could have read that as well.
Airbus happened during NDC's time.
You continued,
right?
Former President Mahama said he didn't get a good deal that will change the lives of the nation. Yes, but the former president says he didn't get even $1.
That will reduce the rate at which we borrow for infrastructure.
What do you have to say about
that
the former president?
That will make Obuasi.
Let's come back to
match up to South Africa. Yes, because that's where I grew up. I've benefited so much from Obuasi. I can't let it be. So if a good deal is coming to the people, let me trumpet it. Please. So let's be consistent. And this is the inconsistency of the NDC that scares some of us. And we appeal to Ghanaians to make sure that we don't repeat the mistake we repeated in 2012.
But the former president said he didn't even take $1 from the deal.
Did he take something else? He said $1. Did he take something else? I mean, because we've heard about a Ford before. Did he take something else? He didn't take money. Did he take something else? Let the special prosecutor investigate and we can deal with it properly. But sitting here and saying it's mischievous, then we might as well say the whole report is mischievous, if that's the logic we are going by.
Okay.
So he's going to investigate it, but he's giving hints. And he's boldly said he's identified government official one. Right? So let's the full investigation go. If whatever the SP does is sacrosanct, let's wait for the
So you don't think there's anything wrong with him referencing a completely
We're talking
different
about corruption, are we
investigation when
not?
he's reporting on.
We are talking about corruption, are we not?
Ejapa.
Isn't he the same person? But she referenced PDS. Was it right?
No, I'm not talking about her. I'm talking about the special prosecutor and the
she said
concerns people
when
have
it's right
raised.
is right. So let's go by. No, but Jifa, the point is we are talking about corruption. It's the SP's office. He's communicating to the president, the same person who referred these things to him. So I don't think there's anything wrong with it, if you think so. He's giving the indications, he's giving information. Let's wait for him to investigate if there's anything. Because if there's nothing wrong, why are you threatening him?
Yeah, I think Laura too got it all wrong.
Really?
I am saying that it's mischievous, not because we are saying he's going to investigate it, but I'm just talking about the fact that that was found in the report. If the special prosecutor wants to investigate this Airbus scandal, I mean, nobody prevents him.
So you should have written a brand new letter focusing on Airbus alone.
But when you raise, I mean, you've written a report that talks about a stinking deal, and you think it's an indictment on this current administration, and you think by, using Airbus to kind of form an eyes on it will kind of tone down the impact that will have. That is what I said was mischievous.
Okay, so you don't think it was just an update?
That shouldn't be the case. That
You should have written a brand new letter.
He's talking about corruption. And look, if we want to talk about the issue of corruption, I think
Please wrap
nobody
up for us.
can match that of MPP. And she knows it. And I keep on saying that, look, Ghanaians are very discerning people. They are people who are able to read in between the lines. So no amount of words, of gimmick would change the minds of Ghanaians.
All right, thank you. We have some messages from our viewers. Good morning. I think we must begin to do things right as a country who wants to develop and move up. If the special prosecutor's report is not certified enough to the president or any other person, why can't they set a committee to do further investigations into the matter than defending the indefensible? This is not from Nadoli. The OSP raised issues of conflict of interest. Ask the NPP woman, is Parliament or Shraj that has the power to investigate? Why didn't the president send that part to Shraj to investigate? This is coming from Daniel from Mataheko. So I don't know if Laura too would want to answer that, but more messages here. Hi, we are watching from Abidjan. You have some amazing panelists on your show. It is very informative. Thank you. Hello, good morning. Texting from Ashoman Estate. My lovely greetings go to the wonderful woman from NPP. This comes from George Martin. So I don't know if you want to answer the issue about it, but then we can just go ahead and
all know what the mandates of these issues are.
I think that, yes, what we should be saying now is the fact that the money that were paid to these bodies, I think we should be demanding for a refund of this money.
Which bodies?
Talking about the
Airbus or?
No, I'm talking about the Ejapa deal.
Oh, we're going back to Ejapa.
We are talking about Ejapa deal.
So
if we are saying that,
which money specifically?
The money that we paid,
the
money we paid to the legal team.
How much?
But that was part of the process.
How much was paid?
I mean, the people.
Let's put facts there.
Hold on.
Let's put the point.
We need to make
we have again. They set lot.
If you're talking about money, how much is it?
CDS issues came up.
No, let's move on. Laura wants to know what.
Let's move on.
Thank you very much. Our final story has to do with the EC. The EC says NDC claims about overprinting of ballot papers misleading. I'm reading from citynewsroom.com. The Electoral Commission has refuted allegations by the National Democratic Congress that it is attempting to rig the upcoming elections by overprinting ballot papers. According to the NDC, one of the 7 printing houses undertaking the exercise, Assembly Press, has printed about 150,000 surplus ballots, breaching the 5% excess ballot papers requirement. The National Campaign Coordinator of the NDC, Professor Joshua Alabi, who addressed the media on this matter over the weekend, said such irregularities will not be countenanced by the party. By a statement from the EC dated November 3rd, 2020, described the allegation as misleading. So I'm going to quote what the EC said. It has been standard practice for the Commission to print ballot papers in excess of 5% to cater for the instances such as spoiled ballots. This has been the practice since 1992. and the present commission has not changed this policy. In line with this policy, all printing houses have been directed to print the 2020 ballot papers in excess of 5% for all 38,630 polling stations across the country. Since 1992, the ballot papers for both presidential and parliamentary elections are printed in booklets of 10, 25, 50, and 100 for all polling stations. So they go on to say that there's actually nothing wrong with what has been done, because in the scenario above, the booklet cannot be printed for 90 voters. So they explained everything, and they're saying pretty much what the NDC is saying is misleading.
You want me to start? I thought to.
Okay, if you want Laura to start, since it's your party and they're responding to you, but
yes,
Laura,
let us start.
The EC is responding to the NDC, so I think it's fair for you to take this one.
I want to say that, Jafar, when this whole election process started, we've seen a lot of inconsistency with the way EC carries out its activities. And there have been a lot of questions raised about some of the issues or the way EC have carried out some activities. You know, I know that there's been a special body put in place as a way of negotiating or having discussion with EC so as to enable both party or all political parties that are involved as far as election is concerned to feel confident or to feel free and have confidence in the EC that they are going to carry out a free and fair election. But along the way, we've seen EC, you know, taking some steps and some actions that kind of make some people to get worried. And the surprising thing is that we have seen more or less the MPP always doing the bidding of EC.
Really?
They are always becoming more or less like the PRO of the Electoral Commission.
But some people also say that the NDC always has an issue with the EC.
It's worrying. Printing of ballot papers, we all know that before ballot papers are printed, all political parties are supposed to be involved. They are supposed to send their agents there to make sure that you do not overprint the ballot paper.
And EC said NDC has been involved in the entire process.
There were some processes that they were not involved in.
Okay. Like which one?
And I remember very well when the director was questioned as far as the printing was concerned, he indicated the fact that yes, they were involved, but then at a point, one of the machines had a problem and they had to go and print or continue the printing elsewhere. This was not communicated to.
But the EC, let me quote the EC, they're saying that the effective monitoring and participation by the political parties and security agencies in the Commission's printing processes makes it impossible for any printing house, be it state-owned or private, to manipulate and compromise the printing process.
My point is, if they were involved, I mean, we should not, you know, portray NDC as a people who just make unnecessary allegations, raise alarm unnecessarily.
Nobody has said that.
I don't think if EC involved the parties, they would have raised this alarm. People raise alarm when they feel threatened or when they feel that there is something
their right to be involved in the process?
There is something that is not going right. You know, for the vigilance of NDC, you remember during the registration,
please wrap up for us.
The registration time, figures, huge figures, were coming from Ashanti region, and EC, you know, was collating the figure. Felt it was right until NDC raised alarm and said, "Look, these figures were wrong." So, Jifa, what would you have imagined if NDC was not vigilant?
Well, that's part of the process for both political parties.
As a scientist, if I am collecting a data and I have a data, you know, consistent data, or I'm collecting something consistently. So if I have 2, the following day I get 3,
2, 3, 4, and one day I go and I get 7 or 10, that 10 becomes an outlier.
That's why
and
the political parties are involved.
No, wait. That should raise alarm. That yes, that outlier means that there's something wrong. But EC never bothered. He added a figure until NDC raised alarm. So again, of course, NDC is raising alarm because, like the director said, the machine at a point was not working.
Thank you very much,
went
Doc.
elsewhere without involving
so that
the NDC.
Laura too can
oh God,
get a bite.
the evil that men do. NDC and their candidates in 2016 emphatically stated that the EC is an independent body. The EC was independent then, still independent, and will be independent. So if Doc sits here and says the NPP is doing the bidding of the EC, it's unfortunate. I came here, what was I introduced? I'm here as National Communications Team member of the NPP, not a PRO of EC. But this EC has taken all of us through their processes, every step of the way. They call the media, they update their social media handles, and we all know what is happening. We shouldn't make it seem as if the NDC is putting out misleading information, but that is what it is. From the get-go, that is what the NDC has been doing. What didn't we hear about the new voters registration? It won't happen. They went as far as
stakeholders. Don't they have the right to voice their concerns?
They went as far as to the court and even misinterpreted the judgments of the court.
Okay.
That went.
We have to wrap up now.
Jifa, you gave it enough time. Please give me my time. We were going to do the registration. They said people would die. We would beat each other. What happened? We finished the voters register.
People died. Doc, for the sake of time, I just want to rush
we finished the register, right? Then now we've come to printing of ballots. You think if the NDC didn't have reps at the printing houses, we will get a breathing space in this country? Please, stop the misleading information. Stop heckling the EC.
Thank you very much.
What are you threatened of? Is it what you did in 2016 that you are afraid of?
Is a lecturer of the University of Ghana and a member of the NDC National Communications Team. Laura Musa Saka is a member of the NPP's National Communications Team. I thank both of you for being here this morning.
And you're a good family, corruptible,
right after this break.
Who is number one on the ballot?
2 weeks ago, I had nowhere to turn to. I needed funds urgently. That's when I ran into Wafakofi. It's you, Wafakofi.
Hello.
It's good I saw you here.
Really?
You know, with businesses restarting after the lockdown, getting funds has been really difficult to pay for some of the goods in high demand, and my supply is no longer selling on credit.
Sister Ama, my financial partner is Advanced Savings and Loans. Advanced stayed by my side all through the COVID crisis. They offered me grace period. They also gave me advice on how to manage my business, and now they are here to help me clear my containers by offering me a loan.
Are you sure they are giving out loans even during the COVID pandemic?
Yes, Advanced Ghana has you covered.
So that's how I got a loan to stock up my shop.
Call us on 0800 355 355 or visit our nearest branch for our various loan and deposit products. Advance, your preferred financial partner.
Man, you should feel
Since 2017, a new dawn is breaking in Ghana. The NPP is building the foundations for growth and transformation. We are curbing unemployment with new and decent jobs.
Thanks to Nana, I've got a new job through NAPCO. That is why I'm voting for him as the MPP.
The promise of free SHS is now a reality.
Through education, I have a brighter future. That's why I'm voting for Nana and the MPP.
The future of our country is in the hands of a competent leader, a man you can trust.
I trust Nana.
This December, let's protect our progress. Let's give Nana 4 more to do more for you.
2020, 4 more for Nana. 2020, yeah, 2 more Nana.
Message here says, hello. I politely asked my wife whether she's cheating on me because she doesn't pick my calls. She got really upset and has packed out of the house. I went to plead with her, but she says she's not coming back because I don't trust her. What do I do? I'm dying slowly.
How do you go from she's not answering my calls, why are you cheating on me? There's more to the story, and for me personally, this has more to do with him than her.
After the first time you say it, the second time, and it's like, okay, all of a sudden I'm not picking up my phone calls. And does that mean that I'm cheating on you?
You the whole paradox of I politely asked if she was cheating. Which one is that? Because that
I was about to ask you ladies, like, how do you do that?
Like politely so he said it in a nice voice, or he said it with a smiley face.
He said it in a bad voice.
Sure, you're cheating, honey. You must be cheating. Now who cheating? I don't really understand.
Sister is sponsored by Vodafone. The future is exciting, ready and secure. You decide.
All right, welcome back. It's time for us to get into the consumer tech segment. And today in the consumer tech segment, Philip Kofi Ashong is going to bring us up to speed with all the things that you might have missed in the world of tech. Good morning, Philip. How are you?
Good morning. Cool. How has the week been for you?
I'm pretty upbeat about where things are going. Yeah.
All things considered. I'm pretty upbeat. Whether from the music side, entering into the political.
Forget the Americans. I mean, as far as my life is concerned, I'm pretty upbeat.
We're good. And I'm glad about that. But I mean, as we always do, it's always nice to sometimes just look back at where you've come from to see where exactly you're going. And that's what we're going to do on the segment this morning. I wanted us to look at some of the big stories of the last quarter, the last 2 quarters within the tech space, and its significance for the ordinary person or the average person, even for big corporates as well, what it actually means, you know, because sometimes you see the stories, but you don't really understand what the dynamics actually are. And for me, I think the biggest story is WhatsApp's decision to enter into the disappearing messages and disappearing media sort of space. Okay. It's something that has been pretty big with messaging platforms like Signal and to a point Telegram. But WhatsApp deciding to enter it makes it more mainstream because this is WhatsApp. It's the biggest messaging platform globally. So when they decide to make a shift and do something, it's a big deal. And I think it's a big deal for a number of reasons. Obviously for the security, you know, because, you know, Signal currently is one of the leading platforms in terms of very well thought out security options for people who want to send, for example, encrypted messages, you know, messages that won't be intercepted by anybody. What Signal actually does is that you can actually decide whether you want the message to stay on for 30 seconds all the way to 1 week. You can adjust it as you please. You know, and for WhatsApp to make a decision to enter that space, it's huge. I think it's very, very significant. The only downside is that obviously this is new for WhatsApp. It started a conversation a couple of months ago with disappearing media. So for example, you send someone a video and then it disappears after a period. And now they've entered into the disappearing messages bit. And we're just going to show you the press statement or the advisory of sorts from WhatsApp on their website. We're showing that to viewers in a bit. But the underlying factor here is, and the reason why people feel that WhatsApp should have probably done a little more work before outdooring was that with WhatsApp, it's a 7-day period. I mean, if the message, you have to be able to access the message within a 7-day period. After 7 days, it's gone. Whereas competitors like Signal and the like will give you options. It's customizable. You can have it in like 30 seconds or a minute or whichever. But on WhatsApp restricts you to 7 days. If after 7 days the message has been opened, cool, it disappears. But there's a lot that also comes with the WhatsApp package. And we'll be going to the website in a bit to show you what exactly I'm talking about. It's not a straightforward thing because for one thing, if the user doesn't open WhatsApp in a 7-day period, the message will disappear, which is normal. However, the preview of the message might still be displayed in the notifications. So let's say you don't open your WhatsApp in 7 days, guess what? The notification should still have the message that the person sent. The other thing is when you reply a message, the initial message is quoted, which is kind of normal. Now, if you reply a disappearing message, the quoted text might remain in the chat after 7 days. So then really, what's the point? Because I'm expecting that if I delete something, there shouldn't be any trace of it. Other thing is, if a user creates a backup before the message disappears, the disappearing message will be included in the backup. Now, I mean, I'm thinking that the message should disappear, right? But then,
so why is there a backup?
Why? If you create a backup, apparently the disappearing message will still be there. Now, the disappearing message will be deleted when the user restores from a backup, because obviously the 7-day period has elapsed. Now, also, only use disappearing message with people you trust, and this is the reason why they say that. Now, people might be able to take a screenshot, which is kind of weird because, I mean, the whole point of a disappearing message is to keep a certain level of secrecy. So if someone can take a screenshot, it kind of defeats the whole purpose. And so that's why they want you to keep, you know, send those sort of messages to people you trust. Secondly, people can copy and save content from a disappearing message before it disappears. It kind of makes you wonder, then why do you even introduce the concept of a disappearing message if people can do all of these things? And this is where the criticism is coming from. But then I can understand why WhatsApp would do this. It will have to do it incrementally. It will have to do it in phases. Because imagine if it was like very restrictive and very definitive and things like that. People will rebel, you know, because they might not understand the concept properly. But now, I think that they're going to do it incrementally. They're going to do it in phases so people can get better adjusted to the concept of disappearing messages. Even though most people are, especially people who use Signal and other platforms like that, I think that because of the sheer size of WhatsApp, I think that is what influences some of these decisions, because there are people from all age ranges, there are people from all economic backgrounds, there are people from all literacy backgrounds who are using it for a number of things. And so to put in a measure like that and make it so widespread and as restrictive as some people who are more security conscious might want it, you know, it kind of poses, you see where the problems probably lie with WhatsApp and why they've decided to take this particular route. And I think kudos to them. I mean, yes, it might not be the all-encompassing solution to disappearing messages, but at least it's clear that WhatsApp is thinking about its customer base. They're thinking about the different ways in which people access the platform, the different age ranges, the different literacy like, you know, stages and things like that people are, and want to probably introduce it in phases, just so that by the time it becomes full-blown, everybody gets it, everybody understands it. Because remember, there are a lot of other features. WhatsApp Business, for example, is there. There's so many different features, you know, that people are using WhatsApp for. And so to introduce this will mean, you know, a bit of a learning curve for some people. And I think that's why they've taken the route that they've taken.
I have a suggestion. They should also include the Snapchat feature that says if you take a screenshot of the message that is
you'll be
supposed
notified.
I'll be notified.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that is where they will probably have to end up at, because there's no point of putting a disappearing message. A feature on if someone can just take a screenshot of it, and I don't know that they've saved it or they've taken it. And I think that it's something that probably they will have to think about. But like I said, these are things that I think they'll be doing in phases, because they clearly understand their user base. They know that there are different people from different backgrounds who are using the platform and might not understand it. The learning curve might be too steep for them, and so they will have to introduce it in bits and pieces. And kudos to them for actually doing it. But it clearly shows you a direction as well for most messaging platforms, whereby security is being taken a little more seriously.
Yes.
Security is being taken a little more seriously. I mean, when you look at a conferencing platform like Zoom, you understand, and the latest in terms of updates that they've had, if you have a Zoom account, you would have received an email within the last 3 weeks talking about some of the advancements and the changes that they've made in terms of security. It clearly shows you that there's a lot more attention being paid to security in terms of messaging between individuals and even groups. And so it's important that WhatsApp also is conscious of some of these changes in the space and adapt themselves accordingly, because I don't know how people will use, I have an idea of how people would potentially use a disappearing message, and for what reason they will want the messages to be disappearing. But it just shows you that someone is sitting around minding the fact that there's a security conversation to be had about this WhatsApp, these disappearing messages. There's a user experience conversation to be had, and that's one of the things that I also think that a lot of the companies, especially in Ghana, who are trying out new technology solutions, should be mindful of. It's not necessarily about what makes you, the developer, happy or what makes you, the CEO of the technology company, happy. It's about the user. What do the users want? How easy is it for the user to be able to adapt to the new technologies they're introducing? And I think that this is a lesson for a lot of companies, a lot of individuals who are looking at building technology solutions. It's not just about how cool the technology is, but then how does it reflect in the lives of the people who are using it. Which takes me to my second big topic for the period, which is the collaboration between Google and Apple. Now, we know that between Google and Apple, they've not necessarily been the best of friends.
No, they haven't.
I mean, they are serious cutthroats, like competitors, and it's interesting within the COVID period, and we talked about this during the COVID period, about something that they wanted to do. It's interesting that they've put their differences aside and decided to forge ahead in one particular direction with COVID. And it has to do with the notifications, the exposure notifications. If you updated your iOS recently, you would have realized within the settings that there is, something for an exposure notification. Same thing goes for most Android users who updated. And that is the story basically announcing it. This is, I believe, from The Verge. I mean, there are other variations of the story, but as you can clearly see there, Apple and Google announced new automatic app system to track COVID exposures. Now, if you remember our conversation from earlier in the year when COVID struck, the two companies are initially going to introduce it as sort of, at least they introduced it as sort of like a third-party thing, and now it's being baked into the operating system. So this is an operating system thing. Initially, it was just sort of like an app of sorts that you're going to. This has been integrated in the operating system. What it means is that both companies will have more control over some of these things, and it doesn't need to depend on a third-party app. So the first update that we saw required, for example, in Ghana, if it was functioning the way we think it should, the symptom tracker app. What it will mean is that the symptom tracker app will be linked to this feature so that as many people as possible who are using it will receive notifications based on their exposure levels, and if you are next to someone who has been exposed. Now, what this means is that it takes it beyond just a third-party thing. Now it is baked into the system, and so once you enable it, you have better data that you can basically work with. I mean, I haven't really seen people use it that much in Ghana. I mean, you can turn it on. It has a number of things that you need to be aware of. But what I am very psyched up about is the fact that such fierce competitors can put their
The
differences
differences
aside
aside,
and still find a way to collaborate just for the sake of humanity. And for me, it's testament to the fact that there is still some bit of humanity left in some of these companies. It might be about the profits, but then it shows that they can get to that point where they can put aside their differences and actually collaborate and work on something together. As to how we, the citizens or the users, tend to use that technology, that's a different conversation for another day. But I just think that it's worth noting how well and how committed they have been to this cause, because they could have just left it as a third-party thing. But then, I mean, if you have updated your Android or if you have updated your iOS, you would have noticed by now that the exposure notification thing is baked right into the operating system. And I think it's kudos to the two companies, but I mean, the rest is up to us. It's always been up to us. Whether you're wearing a nose mask or you're social distancing or whatever, it's always up to us. If we want to use it, we'll use it. It will help us. You get the buzz on your phone when you are in close proximity to someone who has been exposed to COVID. It would help if only we will use it. The technology, as I always say, is simply an enabler. Taking me to my third topic, not necessarily related, but it's kind of a big deal if you are an African startup or you're a startup who's based in Africa, who is building African solutions. Now, there is a company in Nigeria called Paystack. Now, Paystack is basically a financial technology company offering services for the likes of MTN and some other big institutions globally. Now, they've been bought, or they are supposed to be bought, by a company called Stripe, which is an international financial technology solutions provider as well. Now, the figure quoted was around $200 million thereabouts, and that is the press statement from the Stripe website. So Stripe will acquire Paystack to accelerate online commerce across Africa. Now, the reason why this is a big deal is because Paystack was already doing immense work on the continent. Coming from Nigeria, obviously because of the population, it was clear that Paystack was doing an amazing job. So it would definitely attract some attention from the global community. Now, for Stripe to come into the conversation, was a big deal because Paystack, like when you listen to the story, how the young men started up the company, how they've grown it to where it is now, it's just a very feel good story. The fact that young entrepreneurs in Africa can actually build a solution which can attract this level of investment. I mean, it kind of pales in comparison to what Flutterwave, because Flutterwave is currently estimated to be valued around $600 million. So I mean, that's a different conversation. But then the reason why this is such a feel-good factor is because, the young men who founded the company are so relatable. Their story is so relatable to a lot of young startups. And, the fact that they've been able to build this from ground up to the point where, and we'll be getting to the press statements in a bit, because I just wanted to highlight something briefly. The reason why for me it's important is a number of things. Number one, it clearly shows you that startups in Africa are actually worth something, and they are not worth something as in on an African valuation. They're worth something on a global valuation level. And it's important that, I mean, investors within Africa might not necessarily see it as a big deal, but then if we start looking in country or in continents to notice the value of some of these local solutions, I think it will be incredible. Now, the African internet economy is expanding quickly. Now, this might be PR conversation or PR lingua, but then I think that what it does is it puts the continent and the startups and the young technology companies on a certain pedestal when some of these verbs and adjectives are used. So the African internet economy is expanding quickly, with online commerce in the region growing 21% year over year, 75% faster than the global average. Now, in order to increase Africa's online GDP, Stripe has entered into an agreement to acquire Paystack, a technology company based in Lagos that makes it easy for organizations of all sizes to collect payments around the world. Now, I mean, some of these solutions are what, your Haptels and your
express pays,
your express pays and that sort of thing. That is what basically Paystack has been doing. Obviously, Nigeria is a huge market, so it kind of changes the dynamics in terms of how they play. But then, what is important to note is that when the support is there, when the patronage is there, these young companies will grow. I personally had a bit of a problem with how it was couched about how it's only the coming in of Stripe that would sort of take this company to the global level. But then it's true because yes, they were huge in Africa. They had a number of investors. But then when you have an international collaboration which sends your solution to the global stage, it changes the dynamics completely. And I think that it speaks to the fact that local technology entrepreneurs need support. They need the exposure. They need all the backing possible, because these stories are just examples of what African technology entrepreneurs can do and what they're capable of. And I think for me, it represents a lot. It was such a huge story, over the last quarter. And I just think that moving forward, when we believe in the local technology entrepreneur and the solutions that they are, because some of them, yes, might be questionable, but then some of them do need the support. Some of them have shown just how good they are. And yes, we might have a few problems here and there, but I think that as we move along, if the space is given for them to improve, I think that we can only get better from here. So for me, these are my three biggest stories. WhatsApp and its foray into the disappearing messages and disappearing media thing. Paystack obviously being purchased by Stripe, and the whole fintech community, because fintech is a growing, it's huge in Ghana and it's huge across the continent as well. It's growing, which means that there is space for mistakes to be made. There's space for much growth. And if Stripe is coming in with that level, with that amount of money to take it to a global level, it just shows you the sort of interest that's there. And of course, finally Google and Apple. For me, I think the biggest part of it is the fact that sometimes you need to look more at collaboration than competition, especially when it has to do with public good. And so those are the three stories that really struck me over the last couple of quarters.
Fantastic. Good conversation there. Thank you very much to Philip Kofi Ashong, who is the head of production here at Citi TV and also the host of Citi Trends on 97.3 Citi FM. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
Thank you, sir. Hello, my name is Samuel Ofori, a film actor and a film director. Because of the nature of my job, the taste for quality things is endless. Quality phones, quality laptops, quality TV sets. Let me show you my secret. Here is Franco Trading Enterprise. My secret for quality laptops, quality phones, quality TV sets, accessories, come on, external hard drive, pen drive, name it. For bulk purchase and retails, come to Franco Trading Enterprise. They will reduce the price for you. Franco Trading Enterprise, home of quality phones.
Constant yawning, heavy eyelids, blurred vision, and veering off the road are some of the signs that you are falling asleep while driving. This is driver fatigue. Always stop when tired. In Ghana, by law, after 4 hours of continuous driving, drivers should take a mandatory 30 minutes rest. Whilst resting, avoid heavy food, alcohol, and drugs. Even some medication can impair your driving. A driver can then drive for another 4 hours in that day. For long distances, share the drive. Avoid driver fatigue by getting a good sleep before trips. Don't drive tired. Stop road crashes now. Stay alive.
This road safety education is brought to you by the National Road Safety Authority.
welcome back again. And we want to have a conversation about teachers. And there's a conversation about the Teacher First policy. The government have been talking about this, the president have been talking about it. And I'm being joined by Dr. Kobna Bempa Tando, and he is the Deputy Director General of the GES. And he's going to help us to understand exactly what it is that they've been up to. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
I'm doing very well, and
Fantastic.
I hope you're well.
You're welcome to Breakfast Daily.
Thank you.
Yeah. Now, so Teacher First as a policy, tell us a little bit about what it is that you've been up to.
Well, at Ghana Education Service, we are the implementing arm of policies for the Ministry of Education at a pre-tertiary level. And so our key and our main work is to ensure that we deliver quality education in the public space in pre-tertiary. That includes ensuring that we have the right staff, they are equipped well, and then they have the mandate to deliver on their work. Since 2017 at the Ghana Education Service, we have been putting together and instituting a number of policies that is in line with the President's Teacher First policy. Number one, we have spent a lot of time ensuring that we upgrade the level of the teacher, and we have done this in line with the UNESCO benchmarks, which were part of the benchmarks that were approved by the cabinet as part of the Education Strategic Plan 2018 to 2030. But in those benchmarks, there are a number of things we have done. But in terms of our Teacher First policy, we have spent a lot of time ensuring that very soon the level that a teacher will enter the Ghana Education Service will no longer be a diploma, but rather a degree. This has been achieved because of the upgrade of the colleges of education to university colleges of education. We have ensured that we have paid a lot of the 3-month pay policy arrears that were left. We inherited about 97,000 people in the service who had a 3-month pay policy that was impacting them. So far, we have paid about 91% of those arrears. There are still some to be paid, and we are going through the process to do that. We have spent a lot of time ensuring that we improve the quality of the teacher in the classroom in terms of professional development and such. The Ministry of Education and the government has spent some time really understanding what the teacher needs, and it has translated into professional allowance for teachers in terms of professional development at 1,200 cedis annually, and then non-professional teachers about 800 cedis annually to help them improve in terms of their professional practice. So we have done a lot to try to address and to push that policy of Teacher First.
Looking at some of the historical antecedents to where we find ourselves now, there have been issue of maybe different schools, lack of teachers, and so on and so forth. What sort of intake have you had in terms of employing more teachers, more staff? Are there teachers that are available to be employed that you've taken on?
Oh, of course. As a matter of fact, there are a lot of trained teachers out there. And as Ghana Education Service, over the past 4 years, we have employed a little over 93,000 teachers. Wow. If you count this year's, we are doing our final 6,500 employment for graduate teachers. Now, we do our employment based on financial clearance from the Ministry of Finance. And so every year, the Ministry of Finance will give us a financial clearance for employment. This year, our financial clearance is about 27,000 plus for different categories of teachers. And so in terms of availability of teachers, yes, there are availability of teachers, and we continue to employ as we need for the service. Obviously, any entity, including the Ghana Education Service, we employ as we need teachers. And in the past 4 years, we have done well to employ 93,000 teaching and other professional staff into our service, some to replace staff who are retiring. Our commitments to teachers who were trained in the colleges of education, and once they go through all of the qualification processes, completing all of your coursework, completing your national service, and passing your licensure exam if you're a new teacher coming in, Once you have those and you are from the colleges of education, you apply and you're employed. For graduate teachers, we employ based on the financial clearance that we are given. This year, we have been given financial clearance to employ about 6,500 graduate teachers.
Okay.
And if you count the 4 years and you add this 6,500, we would have employed a little over 24,000 graduate teachers between 2017 and now. And so in terms of employment, that's what we have been able to do.
That.
Yes.
Speak a little bit to the issue of the licensure exam. I mean, I know there's been a whole lot of hue and cry about that, whether it's something we should do or not do, and so on and so forth. I mean, I understand the need for a professional body, you know, to have a licensure exam. Okay, but can you say something to allay the fears of those who are concerned?
Thank you. That's a very good one. Number one, the first thing I would like to say is that teachers who are already in the system don't have to write an exam. They go through a continuous professional development to maintain their ability to teach. The licensure exam, which was actually introduced in 2016 when the Director General Jacob Kaur was Director General, was introduced in about 5 districts, including Savilugu, including Upper Menya Krobo, and a few other districts as a test run. Now, this licensure exam, what it does is that it creates an atmosphere where we now have teachers that we can identify as professional. Because if you look at all other professions, just like you said, medicine, law, engineering, accountancy, architecture, and even I'm a professional social worker. All those professions, it is not graduating from university that makes you a professional. You go to a professional body where they take you through a certain level of assessment and standards. And even our teachers are not saying that they don't like the exam. The Deputy General Secretary of NAT actually at an event in 2019 said that they do like the professional exam. What their concerns were was the cost associated with writing that exam.
I see.
And of course, that has been alleviated because of the professional allowance that is now given to teachers to help them grow. But anybody who wants to be a teacher must be able to go through a certain standard before you are admitted into the classroom. I wouldn't want someone who is not licensed by the Ghana Medical Association to perform heart surgery on me. And for that same matter, I wouldn't want a non-licensed teacher to teach my children.
Okay. Sometimes, and I'm saying this because there are some professions like that, so for example in the field of medicine and also in the field of education, sometimes there's a challenge of people coming into the space, not necessarily because they have extreme passion or desire to do it, but it's almost like, I don't have any other option, let me go and teach, you know, and then they become almost like a liability, as it were, to the students that they are, that they are supposed to be impacting. Is there anything that GES is doing to sort of inspire people to become more passionate and more, should I say, emotionally intelligent towards, the work of teaching and, and so on and so forth?
The first thing I would say is that with now saying that in order for you to even become a graduate teacher, you must have a degree. That changes the caliber of people who apply into universities or to attend the university colleges of education. Because just like, we go to university to do medicine, to do law, to, people will now apply to university to say, I want to spend 4 years being trained to be a teacher. So that attracts a different caliber of students. Again, raising it to a degree level means that even the quality of the people you bring in at the very entry, it's higher. In terms of within the GES, there are a number of things we are doing. Of course, it's to help the teacher professionalization, but it's also to help teachers shape their mind around the work that they do. every Wednesday in our basic schools, for the second half of the day, the last hour or last hour and a half, what we do every Wednesday is that we allow the teachers the opportunity to be in professional learning communities, to encourage each other to learn more about the new curriculum, to talk about the challenges, and professionally grow amongst themselves. 4 times a year. Again, these Wednesdays, students go home, so it's only teachers. 4 times a year, we call them pupil-free days. So students don't come to school. Teachers are given the opportunity to have a full day of professional development. So every year, Ghana Education Service, we give our teachers between 74 to 78 hours of time that we pay for. So they are still on salary, but it's for them to grow themselves professionally. And all of these help to ensure that, you know, teachers motivate each other.
All right, so if you just wrap this up for us, anything else that GES is doing that you would like us to know?
Well, one of the last things I would like to say is that we are very proud of the way we have also introduced accountability into our work now. We now want to ensure that what we do, we are held accountable for. We're actually introducing a project funded by the World Bank, which is GALLOP, the Ghana Accountability for Learning Outcomes. So we are now saying that we will hold ourselves for how students are learning. Are they improving in their learning, their performance and everything else? We are doing that through the type of training we are now giving heads of schools for school leadership, the type of training we are giving teachers in terms of pedagogical approaches to teaching and the like. So we are very excited about the fact that we are now connecting our own performance to student learning.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Well, thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
I've been speaking with Dr. Kobna Bempatando, who's the Deputy Director General of the GES, and he's been helping us to understand what it is that they've been doing about the Teacher First policy. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Citi TV is live on DSTV. Go to channel 363. On GoTV, access Citi TV on channel 182. On a digital TV, please press the menu button on the remote control and run a new search on your TV. Take note that without an antenna, you cannot access Citi TV on your television. Citi TV can be accessed on a free-to-air digital box like the GoTV and StarTimes box. Citi TV, it's your world.
Welcome back. It's Breakfast Daily on CCTV, and it's now time for Hello, Mr. President, a segment that focuses solely on issues you have in your communities. If you have not yet sent us your videos, just take out your phone and record an up to 1 minute video. Whatever problem you're experiencing, we want the whole world and nation to know so that policymakers will do something about it for you. The email to send that video to is hellomrpresidenttv@gmail.com. You can also WhatsApp us the videos through our WhatsApp line 0550585832. If you don't have a video phone, don't worry. Text us up to 250 words and we will show it and call onto those policymakers. Now, throughout this segment, if you are experiencing a similar issue that we're talking about, please comment down below or use the hashtag Breakfast Daily for us to hear it. Our first video comes from the Northeast region. Let's take a look.
Mr. President, we are calling on you that we are from Bimbago South, and the nature of the road is very bad, even to an extent that a bicycle rider cannot even go. We are calling on you to come and support us with the rules. Even not be that even we don't have electricity in our place, and beside that, the water is even another problem in our community, and the school building is also not good. We are calling on the government to come and support us with those social amenities. And so therefore, we the citizens of Zimbabwe South, we need your support. Thank you, Mr. President. May God bless you in our homeland, Ghana.
So that's Bimbago South, and that's the northeast region. The young man you listen to is a youth leader called Daniel. We'll be talking to him soon, but he talked about so many different problems. The roads are so bad that cars don't even want to go there. They have to ride bicycles. They don't have electricity, and they also have issues with their school complex. So we have Daniel on the line. Good morning, Daniel.
Good morning, madam.
How are you?
I'm fine, and you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for being with us. Can you please tell us a bit about your area?
Yeah. My area is, what do you call it? It's part of northeast region.
Mm-hmm.
That is Bimbago. But we are living in Bimbago South.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, predominantly in Bimbago we have Kunkumbe and Bimobes. So there is a river that separates us from other sides, Bimobes, and other sides, Kunkumbe.
Okay.
Yeah. So looking at things, we have been neglected politically and everything.
So we're looking at your roads.
Hello?
How does the road make life so difficult for you?
I'm not getting you.
Your roads. Tell us a bit about the roads.
Yes, the road. Yeah, looking at the road, that is the major road that link Bimbago to Guntri Road. You know, in northeast region, Guntri is the biggest market in terms of marketing in that area.
Mm-hmm.
So that road, because our road has been neglected for since 1992. There is nothing like a car or a motor king can even use the road. So if we are to send our farm product to the market, we find it difficult. Some will get rot, some will spoil on the way, because it will be you'll be carrying it a bit by bit. So we don't have road. As a citizen of Ghana, we are calling on the government to come into our aid and support us with the road.
Have you heard anything from your DCE about this road?
The DCE about the road?
Yes.
Madam, I would honestly say no. Are you online with me?
Mm-hmm.
We don't hear anything from the DC. It's only, we don't hear anything from DC about the road. There is nothing like any step taken about that road.
Okay, so how does this make life so difficult if you are next to one of the biggest markets in the region and you can't even get a car to transport your goods to the market? How difficult does it make life for you?
Yeah, madam, it is very difficult in a sense that without business, you know, this modern world, without business, how will you take care of your children in school, your income level, your farm activities, your household? Nowadays, nobody wants to be a farmer, or if you even be a farmer, how to send your goods to the market if your goods cannot get to the market? How are you getting your income?
Yeah.
So life in Bimbago is very terrible.
We also talked about the electricity issues. Can you tell us a bit about it?
Yes, electricity. Yeah, that in as I said, we are in two travel in Bimbago South. It gets a stone throw. The other side is having light, but our side there is no light. And this time around, if there is no light, we are now in the digital world. Where are we charging our phones? Where are we, our students? How are they going to learn? It makes learning difficult, and it makes life in that area difficult to live.
Okay, finally, speaking of learning, you told us something about the school children. I'm already thinking how they get to school on this road. But what other issues have you noticed with school children within your community?
Yeah, and the school and the road and the lights. Besides that, we also have a problem like water problems, and not also forgotten. Our place is Bimbago South. It's not a Kumpano. And the ballot box, they capture it as a Kumpano. And Kumpano is not a name given to any Kunkoma community.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another challenge we are facing.
Now, your students, why are they in the classroom blocks that they are in, sitting on bricks.
The classroom that you are seeing, it was the community members. They make their own effort to build it. Look at the structure of the building. You can see the structure. Look at how it is. It is pitchy. If your child is going to school to sit on this building, to me alone, it's better you go and buy a coffin. Waiting that maybe they will bring a dead body home.
But haven't they built a new school in the area at all for these students?
Since 1996, the government, they came and put up 3 classrooms. Apart from that 3 classrooms, nothing else. Like a project, government is putting up a project in Bimbagu South.
Okay, so Daniel, the whole nation is watching your community. We are all watching your community right now. The world is watching. What would you like to tell us about this community and the importance of helping you?
Madam, come again.
We are all watching the state of your community now. Speak to your leaders about fixing these problems.
Yeah. The only thing is that we are calling on the government, and either on the government, the organizations, the media houses, to come into our aid. Else, our life is in danger. Our living is in danger. We look like we are not Ghanaians, to be frank. Looking at the community on your media, it's like we are not Ghanaians.
I understand you held some sort of demonstration. Did you get any results from it?
Come again, madam.
You held a demonstration some time ago. Did your leaders respond afterwards?
Since our press conference, we did not see anything, any response.
Okay. So we're going to talk to your DCE next. I hope you will stay on and listen to what he says. And then if you have anything else to say, we'll come to you.
And I'll be glad to hear what the DC will say about the community. If what I'm saying is not true.
Okay.
Okay. Yo.
Thank you very much, Daniel. So there you have it, viewers. That is a small community called Bimbagu South. It's in the Bunprigu district of the Northeast region. And Daniel says his entire life he's never lived in electricity before. Now, this is a generation where we want everyone to go digital. We want everyone to be globally competitive. If you don't have access to electricity, how can you compete on a global level and even be of use to your community? He also talked to us about the roads. They are next to one of the biggest markets in that region. It's a farming community. You need your road to transport your produce to the market to make money to take care of yourself and your family members. But if cars cannot get on that road, if even tricycles can't operate on that road and you have to rely on bicycles, can you imagine how many trips you have to make to transport yams, for instance? And by the time you're able to get all of your goods to the market, your competitor in a different community with good roads would have probably sold out. What money would you be able to take back home to your families? He also talked to us about the nature of the school. We see school children dressed beautifully and they don't even have chairs to sit on. Thankfully, we have the DCE on the line, Honorable Alhaji Duty. He's going to help us understand the problem better. Good morning, Mr. Duty. How are you? Hello, do you hear me?
Yeah, hello.
Perfect. Good morning. Thank you so much. This is Breakfast Daily on Citi TV.
Yeah, good morning.
We just heard one of the young leaders from your community walk us through all the issues they have with electricity, with the roads, with the environment in which children are studying. What do you have to tell us about what you've been doing to fix some of these problems?
Come back again.
We're talking about your area, Bimbagu South, right? And one of the youth leaders has just told us that the roads are so bad, they can't even get access to the market to make money to take care of themselves. He's not seen electricity since he's been born. Yes, he's not seen electricity since he's been born. And children are studying in an environment that is not good for them to be competitive, even within Ghana. So tell us a bit about your area.
Yeah. Your line is not clear.
It's okay. You tell us about your area.
Right.
Are you there? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. We want to know what you've been doing to solve the road problems, electricity problems, and school building issues in your community.
Yeah, the road problem.
Yes.
Yes, after the road problem, you know, we are trying our best to see how best we can fix the road. In the community, I think they invited me to the team. Are you listening?
Yes, I'm here. We're talking about Bimbagu South. Go ahead.
Yes, I said the community, the Bimbagu South community invited me.
Yes.
To the community. I went there, I sat down with them, and the concerns that were addressed, their concerns were taken. And I told them, as a district assembly, we'll try as much as we can to see what we do to solve the problems with them, to solve the problems for them. And I think after we sat down, I told them the school was something that we saw it to be very much important. It was very much important for us. And we made sure that it was captured in the 2021 budget. We have to plan and budget after which we execute. So that road issue was captured in the 2021 budget. But you know, electricity, you are aware of what happened for the year 2020. The COVID-19 played much in the programs and projects of the country this year. And, you know, it was one of the communities that were captured for 2020 electricity. But because of this COVID-19, things went slow. So when I met them, I told them that it is still the plans of the country, the district, and the government as whole. So they should wait. When the communities that were captured for 2020, when they are coming to do the project, the community will be attended to. Yes. So this is what we did when I met them.
So, Mr. Duty, your community, they are watching us now. The people of Bimbagu South are listening to you. They've not had electricity, not just this year, because we can't say it's a COVID-19 problem. Yes. So what do you have to tell them? Because they also have water issues. Please go ahead.
They didn't tell me. I was not invited. And taking news after getting their issues is not what I want to do. They didn't also come to find out for me when they started early.
Yes, but we're talking to you now. So what do you have to tell them about solving these problems?
After meeting the community, even if they didn't want to be part of the meeting with the community, or the community didn't want. But after they finish, So I've also come to find it as the landlord of it.
Yes, and I'm speaking to you now as the landlord. What are you going to do for them?
You say?
What would you do for them? Will they still have to experience this come 2021? When will the children get proper desks to sit on? When are these roads going to be fixed? Is there a timeline to this?
Yes, that is why I told you that we have included the community in the 2021 budget.
Do you feel as though this community is a priority to the nation? Bimbagu South, when you look at the states they are in, do you see them as a priority?
All communities, not Bimbagu South, all communities are priority to the nation.
As a district chief executive, are you proud of the nature of the roads, the schools, the fact that they don't have electricity? I think I'll take that as a no.
Work on it as and when.
Okay. Do we know when? Is there a date? Or we just have to wait?
Can it be?
Is there a date? Your youth leaders are waiting to hear some progress being done, some projects being worked on, so they know that there's light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
Has anything begun?